What up, friends, and welcome to the Tilted Tavern, Episode 1. This is our brand new podcast talking about all things video games, esports, and every week we're going to have a different beer that we talk about. There might be a beer or tavern-related discussion, if you will, where we hop into whatever the heck we want to talk about. That's the whole thing. We've been podcasting, Jared and myself, Zoya, my co-host, and we've got my co-host Arano here for like 5 years now, Jared. And we've done all these different shows. We've talked about different games. So we said, you know what? We just need a podcast where we can talk about whatever the heck we want. Video games, esports, books, movies, you name it. That's the plan here on the Tilted Tavern. To introduce myself, I've been doing stuff in the gaming world my whole life, I guess, my whole adult life at least. You know, going from Smash Brothers as a player to working with Major League Gaming as an administrator to being a commentator at Blizzcon for Heroes of the Storm. And, you know, I love all things gaming. I love all things beer. So here we are. Jared, welcome, my friend. We're back.
Hello. I'm glad to be here. I'm tired of my D&D show being taken up by 40-minute pre-shows because we can't stop talking about video games and stuff. So we finally got a place that Jake and I can go nuts every week. And maybe we can play a little bit more D&D now because of that. Probably not. We're probably still going to talk about video games for 30 minutes on that pre-show again still too. But hi, I'm Zoya, Jared. I've been in esports since about 2010. I think I met Jake a couple years after that. We've been working together across many different titles, Breakaway, StarCraft, Heroes of the Storm. Now do Dungeons and Dragons together, which is a lot of fun. And now we're doing this. But yeah, I've done a lot of stuff, commentating, managing, coaching, content creating, writing, blah, 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 blah. Hello.
Then we've got Arano, and you know, Arano is also on our D&D show. It's funny because I met this guy at BlizzCon, even though he lives 10 minutes away from me. Welcome, man.
Thank you. Good to be here. But
I didn't know you guys met at BlizzCon.
Yeah. Met at BlizzCon and then ran into each other at a bar.
Wait, so you guys weren't like, he wasn't like a stream viewer? I thought at least he knew you from stream before and you just randomly met him.
He knew who
I mean, I knew of him. Like, I watched not HGC, but I watched Heroes for a long time. So I knew of him, but I wasn't really much of a viewer. Then I met him at BrewCon, which happens right before BlizzCon.
It all comes out
Jake,
of
you're only coming out of the right speaker, apparently.
Oh. That's good news.
Interesting.
Thank you, Buddha.
And then I basically, BlizzCon happened, and then like a month later, there's a bar that I always go to that apparently Jake always goes to. And I was there one time, and I was like, oh, I saw him, and I just went over and said hi, and I was like, hey, I met you at BlizzCon. Love what you do for Heroes. And then like went on with life, and then the rest is history.
I just like how that's where we met. We met at BrewCon,
which
is an event where the day before BlizzCon, everyone goes to breweries in Southern California. And we met at Bottle Logic, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Bottle Logic, and then...
I don't even know if I went to the bar after that. But Bottle Logic's a cool
Dude,
place.
you two should get married. That's like the nerdiest, like, wet dream you two could have possibly met. You met at a brewery while going to BlizzCon. Hello? Get married. You two are meant for each other.
Already married, boy. And then it was like right around Christmas time, we were at a place called the Half Door. And that's my favorite bar locally to me. And he was there and just came, said hi, and like he said, you know, we just kind of...
It's a rom-com waiting to happen.
Became friends at that point. It's just like, okay, I guess this is happening. So
the rest is history. And we just had our year anniversary a couple months ago.
No. Every week we're going to talk about a different beer, and you know, this is... Arano and I live in Connecticut. There's a lot of great New England breweries around us that we could go to, get beers from, sample them, whatever, but that's not necessarily true for Zoya, who's in Texas. Now, I started actually, you know, at a young age of 21, young lad, I bought a beer brewing kit. I wanted to, like, I liked beer that much already. I was like, this is a really interesting thing. I bought a beer brewing kit. But I then moved to New York City, stopped doing it, and I haven't really actually brewed. I can't call myself a home brewer yet. I want to get back into that. But I love beer. I've been around beer culture, all kinds of beers. The only beers I don't really like are probably Belgian wheats. I don't like the taste. I drink farmhouse
Wasn't
ales.
Kubi brewing in your house for a while?
Stout? No.
Who had someone brewing? Was it? Oh, Steve was brewing for a while, wasn't he?
Maybe.
I just remember sometime in early Heroes, we had someone on Town Hall who was talking about brewing in their garage.
Huh. That's interesting.
I don't remember. It had to have been Kubi or Matt, but anyways,
it wasn't Kubi.
Sorry.
I know that, but anyways, like, you know, that's something I love very much. Arano, in a similar boat, really enjoys beer. Zoya, the polar opposite, you know, side of the spectrum. He's always stuck towards his hard liquors, right? You know, whiskey is what you like, and you've never really dove into the beer realm. So
I've always been a situation where by the time I started partying, I had a job. So even though I started drinking before I was 21, anytime we were going to go to a party, it was like, well, let's hit up the liquor store, get what you want. And if I could get what I want because I had money, I'm not going to go, let's get the shit beer. I want a whiskey or something, you know, some vodka. I don't know. Anytime I went to a party, I always was the guy that had their own bottle of stuff. I was that guy at every party, and I've always preferred whiskey. So I've never gone down the beer route. Everyone's always like, it's an acquired taste, but I don't want to acquire it. I'm good. If I want to drink, I'll drink whiskey or anything else.
So to clarify, I mean, you realize that you can just have a beer and enjoy it rather than just drink for the intoxication, right?
Yeah, I don't enjoy the taste though. I can drink a whiskey and enjoy the taste.
Interesting. So that's going to be a fun element in this show to see if Jared's ever going to learn to like beer or if he's just going to, you know,
it's not that I just dislike it. Like some beers are fine. Like I've had good, like clearly the shitty beers are shitty, right? But I've had like really good, like draft beers. But I've never been like I'd rather have a beer over a whiskey, ever.
And that's one of the reasons why I'm so excited to be doing this show, because the world of beer is huge. The spectrum is massive, and there's a flavor that everyone can enjoy. I guarantee you that. But
I believe you, man. That's why I'm hyped.
That's why I agreed.
We had to start with a beer that was accessible to everyone, and we're going to decide our next beer by the end of the show, and we're going to announce whatever beer we're doing, and then viewers can then tune in and grab that beer and drink it with us if they so choose. But tonight being episode 1,
if you're legal age.
Of legal age, I want to do something classic. Sam Adams Boston Lager. It's a beer that's available pretty much everywhere. We've all got these.
Oh, your guys' bottle looks different than mine.
Well,
yours is like a more brighter, richer blue.
Actually, yeah, ours is. I mean, maybe ours is just a newer batch.
Yours is the older label. Yeah. This is the newer.
We're in New England, so we're getting the fresher beer, I guess.
Them damn Texas beers.
This is probably the first beer I ever had. I
really
haven't had it in a long time. Yeah, I think it's the first beer I ever had.
Can I be honest with you? I'm not sure if I've ever had Sam Adams.
Well, there you go. But
fun fact, when I first turned 21, the beer I drank pretty much exclusively was the cherry wheat from Sam Adams.
Interesting.
Love that beer.
So we've got 12 ounces of Sam, and I'll be having a few of these tonight.
Yeah, I got like 2 or 3 in me. Not yet, but I will.
Yeah, 5 more coming at you.
The bottle says Boston Lager, 4 ingredients, painstakingly chosen. Every year we travel to Bavaria to hand select Hallertau. I can't say these German words. Mittelfrüh hops in the Pacific Northwest for the finest 2-row barley.
Hey Jake, if we're doing a beer show, you should probably get good at saying German words.
Dude, this word though, I'm with it.
No, I agree. It's nuts, but we're going to be seeing a lot of this coming up soon, folks.
Hallertau, Mittelfrüh.
If I'm going to be brewing my own beer, I got to learn all the different hop names. That's for sure. And meticulously measure water quality to ensure consistency. All our hard work goes into brewing this distinctly flavorful and complex beer for you. Cheers.
Wow, yours is like so much cooler. Mine doesn't say anything like that on my bottle.
Huh. That's an area in Bavaria, in case you're wondering.
Oh, that's a fun fact. That is a very fun fact.
For a brewery fresh taste, enjoy before a month notch. Nice. I'm good, dude. I got like 2 months to drink this.
So,
someone say that word.
Another fun fact is, Sam Adams was the founding beer of the Boston Beer Company in 1984, and Jim Koch is the founder of that brewery. This is his great-great-grandfather's recipe. So this is pretty much an all-American beer, as it really goes back based on his story. And I don't know, I thought that was interesting. But anyways, let's hop into video game discussion, because as much as this is a beer show, it is primarily a gaming show. And I guess I'll have my first sip of the beer. We've got a lot of things happening. And I think the most recent news is BlizzCon 2019 has been announced November 1st and 2nd. Ticket prices have gone
What are you doing?
Up.
Why are we open with BlizzCon and not Classic WoW?
We'll
get out of here, dude.
No, we're starting with the BlizzCon talk. The news came out, yesterday?
Yeah. We'll talk about... if we start with Classic, we end with Classic, so... We need to pace ourselves, Jared.
Hey, guys, they're doing another BlizzCon this year.
But it's different.
Oh, man.
They raised the price. They have different tiers.
Oh, shit.
What
is it? Yeah, there's a portal pass.
It's $229 for the basic. I think it's $550 for the portal pass, which is it gets you like early access to BlizzCon.
That's how you oh, okay. That's how you know Activision is fully in charge, when they're giving you early access to their conventions.
And there's like a party on Thursday night, a pre-party in Dark Moon Fair or something like that. It's
they're selling that
Activision.
now?
Well, to get in there early, yeah.
See, that party was always an influencer party. Maybe they'll do a separate one, but the night before, there's always been an influencer party where you get to network and open bar and hang out and meet the other Blizzard influencers from all games. That's always been the night before. So maybe that'll still exist. Maybe there's a separate one, but my whole thing with BlizzCon this year is, I went to the first BlizzCon as a fan. Every BlizzCon after that, I was either media or working. And, it's half the way that you get in there as media is through community managers and, knowing people and interfacing with Blizzard. That's not really possible if the company fires all of its social media managers. So now, I'm so curious as to how many influencers will actually be there, because in the past there's been quite a few, especially as the IP's expanded. You had Overwatch, you had Hearthstone, you have more and more people making content for your company. They kept expanding that world. That's going to be interesting. They're bringing the prices up. They're adding more ways to spend money at BlizzCon. And after last year, they didn't really announce anything. Diablo Immortal, Warcraft Reforged, hell yeah. But that was it. So
yeah, and there's no goodie bag this year. It's just you can get to pick a statue.
Dude, that is so freaking weak.
And it's either Horde or Alliance, and you can only get it if you go to convention.
Disagree. The statue is better than the goodie bag. Half the shit I've gotten in the goodie bags in the last 2 years has been complete ass. I don't even look at it. I got a Stein like 3 years ago. That was awesome. You could have given me that Stein and nothing else, and I would have been happy. All these this little Protoss Archon bouncy ball. It's a cute idea. All
you're getting is a statue for paying more, though.
Okay,
but I don't. I want to see the statue first.
Right? They already showed them. There's 2 of them.
Well, I mean, like, actually see them, not like
there's
they're showing you.
There's a grunt and a footman, Horde or Alliance. Personally, I'm
not interested at all in BlizzCon after last year. And if they're increasing the prices after what they did to all their community managers and cutting some of their games, unless like a new game announcement's getting hyped up. Like, I've already got everything I want from Blizzard right now. Got War 3 Reforged coming. I got Warcraft Classic coming. WoW Classic coming. Like, what am I looking for? Like, if you're not you're probably going. If you're probably going, I can understand being hyped. But from a person who is not going to BlizzCon, I don't intend to go unless the powers might be get me there somehow. I don't know. There's 0% chance I get there really. For me as a viewer online, what do I have to look forward to at BlizzCon?
Well, you won't know until the opening ceremony, obviously, right?
Well, right, but
so
as of right now, I'm a little hype in the next WoW expansion.
Let's kind of talk about that concept then, though. What do we have to look forward to? Nothing was announced at this past BlizzCon. It really felt like a dry year. They know they have to knock it out of the
War
park.
3 Remaster was announced.
Okay, but that's
Diablo
a small.
Immortal.
That is the classic team, the classic games team, or retro games team. I forget what they call it. And which Heroes of the Storm is now labeled under.
Classic game.
That's a burn. But that team is very small. Right. We know that for a fact. So what are all these other people working on? And then we need to just kind of take a look at people that we know have moved on to other projects. There's tons of, artists and stuff that we know are working on other projects. And these projects could be incubation projects, which basically means they may never actually see the light of day. I'm sure there's tons of games that they never announce that they might go and they'll work on two full years or something, maybe more, and then the game never even.
Are you kidding? StarCraft Ghost was in the works for 8 years before they canned that.
Right, and
Project Titan,
Project Titan for a long time, right? And some games Project Titan became Overwatch, but Blizzard has gotten more and more guarded over the years when it comes to giving any information. So by saying they're doing Project Titan, they're saying we're making a new MMO. They never delivered that MMO, and they felt bad because they had this expectation that they had made public. They didn't do it. If you haven't seen Forging Titan, I believe is the name. It's a documentary they put out about the whole Project Titan project. It's a 3-part series, if I'm not mistaken. You should really watch that. It's a really cool documentary about just kind of the whole process of them deciding that, hey, yeah, we messed up and this is not a game we're happy with. We need to try to salvage it somehow because we've spent like 8 years making it. But anyways, I expect to see at least one of these incubation projects. And I don't have any privy information. Sure, I've been, all these Blizzard things. You don't learn anything. The public speculations are Diablo 4. Everybody's expecting Diablo 4, which seems likely. But when you look at job postings, they posted an MMO, RPG, RTS, mobile game, whatever the hell that means. So, the theory that I've, gotten from other people is Clash of Clans mobile game, something like that, where it's clan-based, group-based, whatever, but also a strategy game. They had that job posting years ago, and then we have to look at who the heck might be working on these games. Where is Dustin Browder? Where is David Kim? These are two guys that are pretty senior. Alan DeBeery, he's moved on to something else. These guys have all worked in RTS. What are they working on? Is it Warcraft 4? Is it this mobile game, this MMO RPG RTS mobile game? I don't know. That's something I'm very curious about.
Hope not. But then again, here we are. So
I don't know, man. I'm not hyped at all. Even after hearing you say all that, I need to. After Diablo Immortal, it feels like it could be so easily to get burned by them, because now we're in a world where we're getting remastered games, which aren't bad. I'm obviously hyped about 2 of the remastered games. 3 of them, I own the Brood War remastered. I'm hyped for, I hope Diablo 2 gets remastered. I'm hyped for all of that, but that's not new real content. The mobile games, Diablo Immortal, that wasn't neither the classic games nor Diablo Immortal were Blizzard quality games. The games we've grown up with that have been Overwatch tier, that have been StarCraft tier, the original Warcraft tier. Nothing like that has happened over the last couple of years. Heroes did not meet those expectations. Diablo Immortal didn't meet that expectation. And none of the classic games, despite how classic WoW probably might be my favorite game of all time, it won't meet that expectation because it's just a remaster. And I don't know if we're ever going to see that golden age of Blizzard ever again. After the last, 5 years, I feel like I don't know if they can retain that glory.
Well, and even like we kind of mentioned earlier, how much are they actually Blizzard anymore? I don't think they'll ever get there.
Oh, no. Yeah, they're definitely not Blizzard anymore. They are Blizzard Activision for eternity.
makes me excited for Destiny 3 now that Bungie was able to kind of escape the grasp, because who knows what will come from it. But until Blizzard leaves Activision, I don't know if we would.
It won't happen. It won't happen.
Yeah.
I feel like if Blizzard leaves Activision, that's not an option. It will be that company goes down together or succeeds together.
We're never going to see that happen. Morheim is gone, right?
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
it's not just Morheim. It's
Metzen
Morheim,
is gone.
Brode,
Metzen.
and Metzen.
Brode is
Three
gone.
big players. That's
Like-
3 of the biggest dogs are gone.
Yeah.
You know, we do have J. Allen Brack. You know, people say what you want about him based off his past decisions. He has been Blizzard since the beginning. He wasn't he originally World of Warcraft?
Yep.
So, you know, at least they still got a CEO who was
Kaplan.
originally a part.
Jeff Kaplan.
Yeah, Kaplan, he was originally WoW too. He was on the original Vanilla WoW team.
He went through Vanilla and then through Frozen Throne, and then he moved on to work on Overwatch. So Frozen Throne was the end of WoW's story as far as a lot of people consider it. Cataclysm is kind of...
Wrath of the Lich King.
Yeah, I'm stupid.
Not Warcraft 3.
All right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. But, you know, there's still people there with a lot of talent.
Yeah, there is still a chance. I'm not willing to rule it out. It's just, I don't know. I feel like I feel like it's almost a pansy way to say I feel hurt almost.
Oh no,
we all do. We all do. Dude.
I feel like I've been expecting more from them, and they're not doing awful. You know, I think people rag on them too much. A lot of their games are in a pretty poor state right now, but compared to most other companies right now, they're still better than most other games. It's just they're not living up to their previous, you know, Blizzard gold standard.
Yeah.
Well, it's before Classic is really gonna wait. You're gonna have to hold your horses with that, because that's such a huge can to open up when we get to Classic WoW. So let's talk about Hearthstone. Hearthstone is something I've been playing a bit of recently, and I think it's in the best state it's been in a long time. The meta feels pretty interesting. I'm hitting decks that
How is it as a free-to-play player? That's the most important thing.
So I couldn't tell you, because I'm not necessarily spending money, but they just retired 3 seasons, and I went through and I disenchanted a ton of cards. So as someone who grinded
same
the
as
game,
me. So I played a lot back in Old Gods, and before that, and so I got like 24,000 dust just from D'ing all my old cards that I just can't use anymore unless I want to play Wild.
Yeah, I have every card from like the first 2 years, but like for the 2 years after that, I've got nothing. So
if you don't care about Wild and you go back and you dust all those cards, you'll be able to make...
I wouldn't want to dust those cards. Yeah. Like, just as a pure free-to-play player, it'd be a bitch.
That's the same, yeah.
It would be tough. I mean, right now they're doing the Hearthstone Championship tournament where you can earn free packs by opening the stream and just leaving it open. You'll get a free pack every 4 hours or so. By logging in today, you get a free
4
pack.
hours.
I know, and they give you like 4 or 5 packs. Just when you log in during the new event launch. You know, they do try to feed you some packs, and they won't necessarily just feed you one expansion. They'll feed you the last few expansions that are still relevant. But it's not terrible, but it's nowhere near what Magic is like. I feel like when you play Magic, they really feed you a lot of cards in Magic Arena. However, Magic, you need more cards to build a deck. So
60 compared to 30.
Yeah. But I don't know.
You know, game out a little side off of Hearthstone, but I'm actually honestly truly interested in the card game that Reyna is making.
What is it called again?
It's called... Oh my god, I can't believe I'm forgetting it.
I was going to say Second Dinner. I'm like,
The Bazaar. The Bazaar. I'm actually honestly interested in that. He's been working on it for it has to feel like over a year now.
Probably.
You know, he was always an incredibly smart man, and he's always... he's being patient with it, so he's always been good at card games. So I'm curious if like someone who's a veteran of card games, who's actually being patient with the design and consulting and getting all these other pros to consult, because of course all these Hearthstone pros are going to consult on the game with him. But I'm curious what it'll end up like.
I mean, it's going to be a single player game. It's going to be totally different. It's not going to be...
I mean, that's fine.
That's not a bad thing.
You played...
I love Spire.
Slay the Spire.
Yeah, Spire's like
it's amazing.
Game in the past like 5 years. Yeah.
So much.
Yeah, it was an awkward segue because Reyna was Hearthstone, and we were talking about a card game in Hearthstone.
No.
It didn't necessarily mean competitively, but I'm actually honestly interested in his game.
No, I can totally agree, and I want to know what Second Dinner is doing as well. That's Ben Brode's company. They're making a Marvel game.
Yeah.
We don't know if it's a card game. We know it's a Marvel game. They got a contract with Marvel, which is a pretty big
Isn't
deal.
it mobile though?
Everything's mobile nowadays.
I'm pretty sure they confirmed that's mobile. I could be wrong on that, but I thought I heard that was specifically mobile.
You're probably right. But yeah, Bazaar should be interesting. There's little to no info about it. I think I did the Patreon for that or the Kickstarter.
Yeah, I did. I think I did like 20 or 30 toward it or something. I forget.
20. Whatever you get the game for. Like I think 20
Yeah.
was the game.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, after Slay the Spire, I really the whole deck building, single player adventure style is really cool.
That's actually one of
enjoyed
the reasons I've been playing the most in Hearthstone is they have that dungeon crawl where you do that. You build your deck as you.
Oh, really?
Each expansion has its own dungeon run that you can do where you start off with like a basic deck, and then whenever you win, you either can pick from like a passive, and then sometimes you'll pick like 3 cards based on different like styles, like one with like mercenary,
death
and you'll
rattles
get,
or
things like that. So it's
cards.
actually a lot of fun. I do it when I'm at work because I can't focus on like a 1v1, and that will like there's no like time for turns and stuff like that, so I can kind of like shoot back and forth.
It's good. It's free content too. It's good free content, right?
Free content, and it's every expansion, so you can go back and play other ones too.
I guess the best part about that is they aren't restricted to PvP rules. They do have cards that are kind of broken and certain elements, but the bosses that you have to fight are equally as broken. So it ends up being really fun. But yeah.
Yeah, I've gone back recently, not like too recently, but maybe last expansion before. And I usually try the single player stuff. The last one I did was one of the puzzle ones, where it's like you got to figure out what cards to play in what order, and blah 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 to get like certain things done. So maybe it was like a year ago. I don't know. That was the last one I did. Those were always fun.
That reminds me of back in the day when I used to get the Magic magazine. In the back, always had like 3 or 4 puzzles that you could do. That was like that, where it would show you like a scenario, and you had to figure out what the play would be to beat it. But anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, man.
I never got the Magic magazine.
I'm very into card games my entire life.
Yeah, man. I wish I never got out of them. I was in them for so long, from like 5 to like maybe 15. I was like a diehard going and competing in tournaments for like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh. And then I let the freaking peer pressure of middle school and high school push me away from that nerdy shit because that wasn't cool at the time.
Yu-Gi-Oh is like some of the worst people in this world. Like,
oh, dude, that's probably part of the reason I quit.
I've seen cards like ripped up in front of people. Like
everybody's got a Yu-Gi-Oh kid story. And I didn't even play Yu-Gi-Oh, and I got Yu-Gi-Oh kid stories.
Oh, it was cutthroat.
Dude, I was at a mall once, and where you have all those kids, they're all showing each other's cards and doing a free for all of trades and stuff. And me and this one kid were showing all our cards to each other. And we did a trade, and we started gathering up. And his dad comes over, "Hey, you just stole my kid's card." Even his kid was like, "No, I never had that card. That's not mine." He's like, "No, I just saw him take it from you." Like, Dad, I didn't have that card. Yu-Gi-Oh people were crazy, man.
That's
awful. What a shitty parent.
Yeah, dude. Yu-Gi-Oh was nuts. Pokemon was always fun. I always enjoyed going to Pokemon events, but Yu-Gi-Oh events, he's absolutely right. Those were awful.
I played in Nationals in Pokemon, right?
God.
Such a nerd.
I haven't heard that in the last month.
Anyways, Jedi Fallen Order, another game that was announced. Oh, apparently I didn't set up your webcams for this scene. Excellent production quality, Jake. Good job, go me.
Check all the scenes first. I love it. Hey, look at that little mouse.
It wouldn't be a Jake podcast without some kind of tech issue, right?
I like this segue from like we didn't finish all of the Blizzard discussion to Star Wars.
Oh, hi.
Oh, we're not doing classic.
Nothing's bad in our chat.
No, this is fine.
Yeah, we have other stuff we can talk about from BlizzCon.
Like what?
He was done with it.
We didn't talk about WoW.
That's
regular
the same
WoW?
thing.
No, regular WoW is not the same thing.
I'm not Stoya, but thank you.
We never got a chance to shit all over BFA.
But can't that be part of the classics discussion?
No, because I don't want my beautiful classic discussion torched by BFA's taint.
Fair enough.
All right, so we'll do the BFA discussion, and then we'll review the beer, and then we'll go in the classic. So there's at least a barrier between the two,
I feel like the BFA discussion just happened.
Okay, maybe that's good enough for me. Yeah. Did you end up actually resubbing at all, or did you? I guess
Not
you don't
yet.
have to resub, but
No, I have not yet.
did you ever even get close to unlocking Colterian, Jake?
Yeah, I'm almost there, but I have had
Almost there.
I have the quest line. I'm pretty much done with it. I'm building a boat or something.
Okay.
And part of the quest line, you got to build a boat. I don't really know why, because I don't read the dialogue. But I'm collecting wood for a boat.
Why would you?
Yeah. So.
Well, Coltoran people are sea people, so I think it's safe.
Yeah.
to
Why
say.
couldn't they just give you a goddamn boat?
You could have said seaman, and you just missed it.
I could have.
Yeah, but he decided not to. But thanks for saying it for him, Jake.
Got him. So.
Anyways, Star Wars.
Jedi Fallen Order. It's new game coming out by EA, but they've shifted to Respawn. And basically, when this game was announced, Respawn spoke about it a little bit. Basically, they said they were working on another game that they had to put on hold to start making this. And I think that was bittersweet for them. I think they were sad to be stopping that other project, whatever it is, but also very excited and eager to work on a Star Wars, the IP being, one of the more legendary IPs out there, I suppose. What I've read in some interviews is that this game is going to handle somewhat like a Zelda game, which I found very surprising, and that probably got me more excited than the trailer ever could have, because the trailer is like a basic white boy that looks super uninteresting. No, he's like the most nondescript character ever, dude. He is so generic.
Well, he's trying to be, though. That's the thing. He's in hiding. He's trying to be generic.
Dude, I only watched this video on mute, so I don't know this.
What does that even mean?
He's a Jedi who is hiding. This is probably
Right, but
like,
the basic white boy part, like, what does that mean?
likes the Starbucks.
He looks like the classic
Wears his Uggs.
Disney male character.
Who owns Star Wars, you
Disney.
dork?
I know, but I'm just like, come on. Like, is that really the main character?
Yes, who was the main character of the original Star Wars?
Yeah.
Oh, a Disney boy named Luke. Looked
He
just
wasn't
like
a Disney
this clown.
boy then.
Yeah, but he basically was. He was your,
Dude, this guy could almost
Standard
be a
poster
Kingdom
boy.
Hearts character. He's such a pretty boy. It's
Listen,
insane.
this is my problem with you, Jake, is you set yourself up for disappointment more than any person I have ever met. All you heard was, it's gonna play like a Zelda game. I'm interested. I'm down. I can't wait to get burned by this game.
I didn't say I'm gonna buy it.
You just said in your first... Well, okay, I don't know how accurate your first sentence was about how the company making it was forced to shift off of another game. That's never a good thing. They're not going to ever want to be 100% committed to it, no matter how cool of an opportunity it is. When you're ditching your baby to go work on this new project, there's going to be some sting there. So there's always a little bit of iffiness from the developer standpoint on that end. And two, when has EA not sucked in the last 10 years? Name one game, please.
I like
Name one game in the last 10 years.
I like Apex.
Okay, Apex doesn't count.
This is the same studio.
This is Respawn. It's the same people.
Oh, is it?
Literally the same people. Yeah, he said that.
That was the opening statement.
How much are you still playing Apex?
I still do.
I play
Not you?
when I have a squad. I haven't
Yeah.
had
When was
time
that?
to play. Dude, I haven't played any games in like 2.5 weeks because I've been.
We
so
played.
I guess my point stands. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
I've won this argument. All right, I didn't realize it was the same company. That gets me a little bit more on their side. Okay, so here's my new philosophy that I've taken, I think, over the last year or 2 years. Until I see a genuine gameplay trailer, not a fake gameplay trailer where it's like cinematic gameplay nonsense. Until I see a real gameplay trailer, I just try not to get myself hyped up. But of course, since it's Star Wars, yes, I have a chub.
I just want Knights of the Old Republic.
Dude, that's the one remastered I've been asking for is Knights of the Old Republic. If they could do a modern day KOTOR. Have you gone and tried and played that game? It is a clunky piece of shit. Yeah,
bad.
That was the first video game where a story ever just blew my mind. Spoilers for a game that came out 20 years ago almost, but when it reveals that you are actually Darth Revan, as a 10-year-old kid, me and my dad both were like...
Yep. I was in high school, so same idea, yeah.
Stunned. Oh man, that was such a good story, and I can't tell people. I can tell people to go play Final Fantasy VII because that game's not as clunky as KOTOR is.
It's bad,
KOTOR
but not
is
Dude, it's bad.
KOTOR's
awful.
unplayable.
A
Yeah.
lot of those games, even Mass Effect 1 aged
Oh,
horribly.
Mass Effect 1 horribly too.
Horribly
That's
aged.
true.
Like,
Yes, SWOTR screwed itself because they tried to put they couldn't keep up with their own content because their original content was so good, and then they were just never able to recover that.
The story. If you actually go through and play the SWTOR just for like the stories, it's not bad. The
No,
stories
good.
is really good.
yeah.
Just you can't produce MMO content with voice acting and story like
it's
that. You
too
just
hard.
can't
no.
do it. Yeah.
The demand is too high for MMOs. The game was interesting. Hotball was fun, but
I fucking football. I played that game.
I played a
way
lot of
too
Hotball in
much.
my day.
I played it way. I was like a sorcerer or something like that, and it was just
That was a
It was
bounty
so
hunter,
broken.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Never.
That game was really fun for the time, but yeah, until I see a gameplay trailer, man,
Yeah.
I can't get too excited.
So-
It does sound like it's like an open world Zelda type game. That does sound really cool for a Star Wars game because that's a really
I don't,
big
I don't,
demand
I
for
don't
something
know
like
if it's
that.
an open world Zelda. I just, did.
We
read
don't know
that
what kind of Zelda
combat would be Zelda-esque. But speaking of not seeing gameplay,
Okay.
and speaking of games, great segue, Jared. Thank you for that.
Gotcha,
We've
dude.
got Borderlands 3, which they had this whole big hype of PAX East. Rano actually hooked me up with tickets to go for 2 days. I made the drive up to Boston. He was already going to be there, with hopes of being part of this whole Borderlands 3 thing. Me, being the dingus I am, left late. Literally, while I was walking from the train to the venue, watching the Borderlands opening ceremony on my phone, checked in as it was ending, and just missed the whole ceremony, even though they had all kinds of tech difficulties.
Question:
But-
was that the worst opening ceremony of all time, or has
No.
the previous E3s been worse?
There's been some way worse than that. I mean,
That was pretty hard for me to watch from home.
the
Oh,
magic.
from okay. From in person.
Like, so first of all,
Magic.
I have to talk about the magic. If the magic reveal, why didn't they card say Borderlands 3? Why didn't the card he pulled from the final deck say Borderlands 3? That would have made the magic trick worth it. But he
Because-
literally spent he literally
were
spent
talking
20
about
minutes
Borderlands
doing a magic trick. He
Yeah.
literally spent 20 minutes doing a magic trick,
and
there was
everyone's
no
mind was
payoff.
blown.
There was no payoff. There was no payoff. It was just a magic trick.
It was
If the final card would have not been the signed card, it would have just said Borderlands 3.
Who
it would
hurt
have been
you?
so better.
Who
But
hurt
it
you
was
so
just-
bad that you hate magic?
I literally watched that for 15 minutes on stream, and it was a magic trick, Jake.
Yeah, I watched it too.
It was wonderful. I ate up every moment of it.
I hated it, dude. There was no payoff, and then we had the worst video playing. You always use VLC, people.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't
we were
know
saying
what
that. We
they
were
were
saying that
doing.
there. Windows Media Player for
Always
the
use
loss.
VLC.
I
yes.
don't even use
He threw
VLC.
shade at PAX too. That was.
I use Media Player Classic.
Ugh.
What is that?
Oh, it's better
Sounds
than VLC.
awful.
That's what it is.
I mean, maybe.
So
I really like
Borderlands-
this beer, by the way. Just throwing that out there.
okay, all right. Well,
I would go back.
I'm
to
halfway through it.
Let me preface that with you're currently starving yourself from carbs, and that's the only
Yeah,
carb you've
maybe that's
had.
it.
That's the
only
first
carb I've
beer
had today.
you've had.
Oh yeah,
in, like, 2
everyone,
weeks.
cheer and clap for Arano. He's on his keto journey right now. It's very difficult, but he's
Because here's the
man.
thing, it's actually not that difficult. I'm okay with it. When I'm on like day 11. I actually really like all the stuff I'm eating. Like my friend Izzy came over the other day. We made cauliflower pizza. It was fantastic.
So
I actually really like
romantic.
it. I just miss beer.
Well, when you're a picky bitch like Bean, you can only eat 3 things. I
Yeah.
guess it's a lot harder.
Yeah, it is. I would agree. But there are little things like you pick
Oh, yeah,
something
no,
up
there's
and you
so
look
many
at it and you're
crazy
like, wow,
things.
that has 9 grams of carbs.
Oh yeah,
Well,
dude, it's
that's
insane.
out.
Everything has sugar in it. Everything has sugar in it.
Like I can't have an onion. Or I could, but
all right, this is
that
not
cuts
the
everything
diet
else out.
show.
But anyway, sorry.
Borderlands 3 announcement came out where they, it's more of the same. And, that's the big criticism they're getting. They're giving us 4 characters. They're pretty much the same classes. The talent trees do sound like they're going to be better. And they're giving us a bunch of new worlds. The one thing that I like a lot is I think the different planets they're showing us here look awesome, right? Some of these places I really want to explore. If this swamp place is really big, if this city is really big, I'm hoping that there's a lot to look forward to. Comparing it to the other loot shooters on the surface, the big difference is I believe this will have single player offline. If you don't want to play online, you can, which means they're not going to be pushing it to be an MMO. They're pushing it to be a co-op game that you play with your friends and you earn loot with, which I think is fine, but personally I'm kind of disappointed about. But at the end of the day,
God, I hate you and everyone else, man.
No. Just the one thing I want to see is gameplay. And May 1st, in like 4 or 5 days, we're getting gameplay. I just want to see that they've evolved gameplay in some way.
I don't. This is the problem. Everyone wants things to change. You said that everyone's complaining because it looks more of the same. Guess what? More of the same would be great because it was great before. What's wrong with it being very similar to 2? 2 was an amazing fucking game. Why are people complaining that it looks more of the same? It's good. Absolutely. I would love more of the same. Thank you.
Look,
what's bad if I have more of
beautiful? None of that's bad. None of that is bad. The loot system should stay the same. Should be good. I just want it to be a little bit more online. That's the one thing I want.
I don't.
A lot of people don't, but I do.
What do you gain by having it be online like that? You
want something to fill that looter shooter void. That this game isn't for that, man. You're wanting to change a beautiful, well done game that's perfect for what it's designed to fit another broader scope, which is not necessarily bad. I mean, that's where a lot of games go wrong.
This is a looter shooter.
It's not originally a looter shooter. It's originally a co-op game for your friends. The whole point of it originally, when you look at what originally Borderlands 1 was designed for, was just you sitting next to your buddy, split screen, doing a campaign and getting all this fun loot. It should always maintain that core concept. That's where games go wrong. If you look at the original design of Diablo 1 to Diablo 3, that core concept is still there. Yes, it's changed a lot, but you still want that core single-player feel for it. That's what makes it worth playing for most people.
Yeah, I personally am a bigger fan of not having the MMO system on most games.
I agree. Maybe not most games, but for certain games.
For this game, I mean, the only thing, like, if they added, like, a PvP option, would that satisfy what you want out of this game, or you literally want to run around with people rather than like a...
I want it to feel like I want to get dope guns and dope gear, and I want to show it off. I want my EPing to feel so thick.
Well, and here's what I ask you, because what I'm getting from this game is it's going to be more like a Left 4 Dead, like you kind of log into like a stage type of thing.
Okay, if that's the case,
but you could still have clan stuff.
Then I'll be satisfied if that is what it is. But we don't know that yet.
We don't, obviously.
Right?
Okay, so
that's how.
As long as you have that cooperative, because when it came to playing with randoms and stuff in Borderlands 2, the systems that were in place were not good. It was not.
Oh, I agree there, but I also never played it for
really
that. I only ever played with like you, for instance.
Right, I played with Kubi.
Exactly.
Kubi and I played a ton of Borderlands 2 together, but I wouldn't play the game without him because it wasn't a fun game. Once you beat the story, grinding max level by yourself wasn't fun, but it was fun to do with other people, namely friends. So having a clan, having social systems, having queuing up or whatever is what I really want to see. And I know we're going to get that gameplay trailer on the 1st. I don't know if we're going to get any information on that. But Dauntless-esque. I mean, Dauntless has like a town where players are running around and then you queue up and you do a dungeon. So I actually think Dauntless is like that. Their system is like Phantasy Star Online, but worse, which is circa 2002.
Which is amazing.
Maybe earlier than that. So Dauntless is horrible. I can't give them any credit towards saying they have a good system. It's too old school. It's too linear almost. Ronald's dead. But I think something in that spectrum would be good, sure, but better than Dauntless.
My problem with, I can see why you want that, and I could agree it would be a great thing. But the problem I see with that, and it goes to on the developer end, is once you start doing these little baby steps for other scopes of the game, right?
Yeah.
It's not its general design philosophy. You start expanding into to make it a little bit more online. You start bringing in those online players, but then those players start complaining. And as we know, for as long as we've been involved in the gaming industry, the people who complain are by far the loudest. And from what we've seen over time, that trend, those loud people have slowly shifted how games are designed. And right now, most games are designed to please as wide as an audience as possible. So when you have this core gameplay design, and then you slowly start trying to appease these MMO audiences or these other types of genre audiences, you start shifting the core gameplay, and eventually it all just merges into one big mess. So while I do want to see what you're asking for, my fear would be, what about Borderlands 4? What's the next progression of the system? Because if you look at the history of WoW, this is what we're going to talk about in Classic WoW so much. From Classic to now, it's always been those little changes between each expansion, between each iteration, from Borderlands 2 to 3, from WoW to BC, from BC to WoW, Wrath of the Lich King. Small, subtle changes over the course of a genre or a game's lifespan, 10 to 15 years, can drastically change from what it originally was to BFA. Again, I want what you want. That does sound great. I would love to show off how big my dick is. I love showing my big dick. I know you love showing your big dick, but it's those steps that just slowly push you towards something different, man.
So let me just reiterate.
That's what I worry about.
I don't want this to be an MMO. I don't want raids. I don't want that content, because one of my favorite parts of Borderlands 2 is having some of these bosses that are designed to be fought with 1 to 4 people that are freaking hard. And, one thing I liked about that game is you would have that boss and he'd have literally a 0.4% chance to drop certain gun. And you would grind him and he would beat the crap out of you. But you'd get better and you'd get better and you'd learn the fight and you'd master the fight. And you and your friend would finally learn how to beat him. Then you would farm him and you would feel freaking good about getting kill after kill. And yes, it took a long time to get that gun, but when you got it, oh my God, did it feel good. And not enough games give you that kind of grind and satisfaction where you can just say, hey, me and Kubi, or me and Jared, we're going to go and do this thing. Getting together with a raid is not something I personally have time for. Getting together with 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 friends, I'm all about. I just want that social system to be a little bit better in this game. And when they made this announcement, they showed us pretty much the bare bones of what we expect to see. They told us nothing as to clans or whatever. They're like, hey, we're keeping shift codes. Cool. That's good. I like that. It's a good system. But, the gunplay, we assume they've improved it. If you play Apex and then you play Borderlands 2, you can be like, wow, this game feels awful.
I kept trying to slide when I went back to Borderlands 1.
But it most certainly can't be the same.
It feels worse, right? It feels
worse. Yeah. Borderlands 1 did not age well either, but it was playable.
No.
Borderlands 2 is still good. I'm actually really
I agree, man. That one. And I love that everything you just said reminds me of Classic WoW, so this always helps me influence that. It's a great game. You were just talking about how you're grinding for that % drop with your friends, just over and over, just doing this one fight over and over. That's, your dungeon grinds, man. That's how you get your best in slot for pre-raid. That's the same. Those are games don't feel rewarding anymore, really. And that's what we're trying to get back. That's what we're hoping for when we talk about how Blizzard doesn't reach that gold standard anymore. We got to feel rewarded for putting in the time for our game and not feel like we were gifted something just by logging in.
Let's talk about a game that isn't rewarding. Doesn't feel rewarding, just isn't rewarding. Anthem. Have you guys kept up with this game at all?
God, I just want to go I hope eventually we have a big enough fan base to where someone goes back through all the Roll Need pre-shows and just does a super cut of Jake's talking about Anthem. And every single time he's talked about it for the last 6 months, I just want to see every single cut of Jake talking about Anthem and just watching how fast I fell off the ship and just how I just slowly watched it sink and crash, and I just watched with a smile. It was just, bye, Jake. I know you're on that ship till the very end, brother. Later.
Context. I really wanted this to be the perfect game. The whole idea of an exosuit, mech style gameplay was everything I ever wanted, where it was like a loot shooter and it was kind of a mecha and it had this gorgeous world and visually it's stunning and the gameplay is stunning, but
It is really good.
everything else is ass. Everything else is raw ass, and the loot system is bad. And the TLDR with Anthem is they basically had a dev live stream. They delayed it. They finally came out with a dev live stream a few days later. They were like almost silent. They're like, "Hey, we're delaying it." They didn't like give any reason, so the community's already like freaking out.
When was this? Sorry,
This was like last week.
Like this
Or,
week,
like,
last week.
Like,
yeah.
so like
Oh,
maybe 10 days ago they delay it, and then last week they have the live stream where they almost seemed mad about. He must have hit his mute button. They almost seemed mad about just the community demanding info about loot, and they're like, "Hey, we've got this new stronghold coming out." But they didn't address the loot situation. They know it needs to change. They didn't have anything to tell us. They didn't even say, like, hey, we're working on it during that live stream. They just kind of treated it as a non-issue that they would ignore. And that community's just, it's gone up in flames. Like, it's really bad. I haven't played the game in probably 2 months, well before Division 2 came out, which is a much better game. But
Wish I had more time to play
God
that.
damn, the potential of that IP is high. They just drop the ball hard.
it's a interesting hurdle that has only appeared, I would say, over maybe it started about 10 years ago, but I wouldn't say it's become prominent in the last 5 years, where data mining and just the information gathering of the player base in general has gotten to such a high point where people can figure out the mathematics of every single spell in their rotation, every single buff, debuff, and really, really figure out like these perfect numbers. And if your math behind it as a developer isn't perfect, if you haven't really ironed out your systems, it can get picked apart by a truly dedicated fan base when they just figure this stuff out. And it's a little hard to, yes, you put all the blame on the devs, but it's just so hard to like, there's just so much math behind this stuff. Like, you have to do so much like predictions, and without early accesses, when you're testing this game only to an internal test, how are you going to find out all these holes and stuff? Like, so I'm not making an excuse for Anthem. Anthem fucked up hard. Like, they're bad in general.
How do you make a loot shooter game where you can't look at your stats or your inventory when you're out questing? How the fuck do you make a game that's loot driven when you can't look at your gear? Like, oh, what's the interaction again with that new piece of gear I just put on? Oh, you can't look at that. You need to beat this 2-minute loading screen boss to go back to town to look at it and then warp back out. Oh, you forgot again? Well, get fucked, nerd. Like, there's just so many things that weren't thought out in that game. And, oh, God, I wanted to love it so bad.
My favorite part of the whole Anthem debacle was when you actually started to get loot and everyone was happy. And then they came out and they're like, oh, that wasn't on purpose. And then they fixed it. And people went back to not getting loot.
Yeah, the loot drop rate went up 200%, and they hot fixed it out.
I feel like because like they talked about it for a while in like WoW Q&As, but or I forget where I heard people talk about it, but a lot of companies run off of playtime now. It's similar to how like YouTube algorithm works and Netflix algorithm works. It's not based off of how many episodes were watched. It's about how much watch time. How long is someone sitting there and watching something? And I feel like games have switched to let's get people logging in as often as possible. They need a reason to come keep playing. They want the loot rate to be crap because they want you to log in and play their game. But that's just that's what like world quests feel like in WoW right now. Just like they're there to get you to log in, but there's no reward for them. It's just to get you in.
What do you think the biggest cause of that is? Mobile gaming? Or what?
I don't know. I feel like it has to be money related.
I would say
we've got
philosophy.
Yeah, change of philosophy. Like what's the phrase around the Blizzard statue?
Okay.
Gameplay first, right?
Gameplay first.
What company do we feel like? Well, that was the one I was looking for. Was gameplay first? What company do you feel puts gameplay above everything else right now? Not over subscribers, over
it's always been Blizzard,
player count,
even still.
But that's the problem. It's not gameplay first anymore. It's figuring out how to get the most money or how the most players or whatever it takes to be the BR of the month. I don't know. It doesn't feel like people are trying to make good games anymore. They're trying to make popular games.
They're trying to make money. It's a shame, but you're right. You know,
Like all of the top games, like if you look over the last 3 years, all the super top games, like that are critically acclaimed, are always single player games. Breath of the Wild, God of War. They're the most critically acclaimed games of the last 5 years. You know, they're always single player games. When's the last multiplayer games? Red Dead. You know, Fortnite was like the biggest game in the last 5 years that wasn't a single player only.
But even then, it wasn't like game of the year.
Overwatch
it
was very big.
Yes, Overwatch got game of the year, and that was 5 years ago.
Yeah, give or take.
I'm pulling it.
So it's been a minute. So
probably 2014,
2015, 2016, something like that.
2016.
2016.
Okay,
So
so that's in the last 5 years.
Okay, so that would be the only one I can think of off the top of my head. That's really just.
But even then, like that year, like Uncharted 4 came out, and that was
another big single player game. The Spider-Man game that just came out, another game that was just incredible, single player only.
Yeah, I know. I gotta buy a PlayStation one of these days, or just steal Ryan's. You've offered it. I should.
Yeah, I don't. I honestly haven't touched it.
Yeah, but
ever since Kingdom Hearts 3 was a. I won't use the word I want to use.
What was the other one with the redhead chick? I really liked that one.
Oh, Horizon Zero Dawn.
Zero Dawn. That game was
the
so good too.
Animals,
yeah. Robot dinosaurs.
It's just
that game was great. Last of Us is fantastic. Like, so many. I have so many PlayStation exclusives. Yeah. Amazing.
Jared, you know, remember when we went to Amazon Game Studios and we got to play New World? Apparently the game's in alpha now. It's supposed to be really good. I've heard some people.
Remember that.
I've heard it's getting hype, man.
That's the Amazon game, right? I'm sure you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I'll get us codes.
We got the. I mean, I don't know if we're allowed to say that, but it was so long ago. They won't care. We played in like a super early.
Like none of the assets were there.
I'm sure none of it is the same, even close now.
Those skeletons are terrifying. Don't die.
But from the people we met at the Amazon crew, I love that team. That was a team that they did not have the right support. I don't know what went wrong with that Breakaway team. There was a lot that went wrong but
I know what went wrong with Breakaway.
The people behind it were good people. Like all of those devs, I loved them all.
The game was awesome if you played on LAN, but their servers were ass.
Oh yeah, the netcoding was so bad.
The netcode was so bad that when you played online, the delay it made it unplayable. It was not fun. It was genuinely not fun to play online. But if you played on LAN, the game was fantastic. It was very fun. It felt like you could outplay your opponents. It felt like you could be the better player. And they just did not know what they were doing as a new studio in terms of launching a product. They tried to push it to streamers with servers that were laggy as hell. These streamers are broadcasting to hundreds, if not thousands of viewers. Shit content. So
they weren't ready.
They messed up.
When did Amazon Game Studios get announced?
As a studio?
I remember
it's been the last 5-6 years. Like
when exactly? Because I have a point here.
2012.
2012. Wow. So 7 years ago. So this is why I want to keep my eye on Amazon. They announced their studio and started working on games 7 years ago, and they have not made a game yet. They are not producing anything unless it is of quality. They are willing to take their time. They're willing to really put their effort into it. You know, it may not lead to anything good, but it's better than every other game company that is forcing crap out. Specifically Anthem. You have one of the best dev companies. BioWare has made some of my favorite games over the last 20 years, and they just shit out that pile of garbage because of what? Deadlines. Amazon doesn't clearly have deadlines if they haven't made a single game in 7 years. So we'll see.
But there's still corporate pressure if they push this. You know, everything we went through with Breakaway was corporate pressure to get that game out, right? And maybe they learned from that experience.
I feel like they had to have.
But I think it also helps because Amazon has a completely other division that's bringing in.
I would love to get to interview someone from who was one of the higher ups behind Breakaway, just to figure out where that path went wrong. Because you're right, it was an interesting way that it does not match everything else about them right now. I just brought up how they've been patient over the last 7 years, but you're right. During that period of time we were doing Breakaway stuff, it felt like someone was like cracking a whip, like let's go, we need to get this going, and clearly it wasn't ready. We kept saying that. I think even in our original town halls for it, we kept saying, take your time, don't do something until it's ready. Everyone kept people were already begging for tournament mode, and even both of us who love casting were saying, no, wait till you think it's ready, devs, please. Because when we did that to Heroes of the Storm, when we pressured them constantly for tournament modes and stuff, when we finally got it, the game wasn't ready for it, and that kind of hurt it during the beta phase for a long time.
Yeah, I would agree.
Take your time is, I guess, what I'm trying to say. Don't let Papa EA beat you around.
Well, we'll see.
That's what. That's where who's the company that makes Never mind, let's go on.
So, Bueno just said it in chat, like Star Citizen. And I actually was going to segue to Star Citizen just because Lumberyard was mentioned. Lumberyard being the engine that is developed by Amazon. It is supposed to be a very powerful engine that is only being tapped into. And Star Citizen, mid-development, like 4 years into their development, ported to Lumberyard because they basically realized that if they were going to achieve their goal of a seamless universe with no loading screens, finish to finish, planets and planets and planets, their engine wasn't going to be good enough. And now that they're starting to get stable on Lumberyard, that game actually feels like a real product for the first time in many years. Still buggy, still far from done. But they've added there's a planet with a city and shops. You can, buy armor, buy guns, fly around, do missions. Like it's actually feels like, if you asked me like 2 years ago if I thought the game would ever finish, I'd say no. But they've got the money. I don't know what they're.
Maybe that's what Blizzard's like trying to do right now. Maybe they're just like, they're just like crapping out stuff right now to keep the money flow going in, while they're slowly churning out something God's here. Because, like you say, why doesn't every company do what Star Citizen is doing? Because that is not financially affordable. Well, it is no way possible for very many companies to be able to do what Star Citizen is doing.
Do you know how much money they make? Star Citizen is in early access, and you can be a subscriber to pay monthly for early access to extra content to the PTU. So they have their live servers.
How much money do you think that company has made over the 4 years that you've been playing it?
Okay,
Jake,
let me tell you an exact number because it is publicly announced.
It's like $300 for a ship.
No, some ships are thousands.
Yeah,
literally. How do I find this? It's not on the Pledge Store. The Universe How to Play Media. It is like $120 million, like in funding from first it was a Kickstarter.
$120 million over 4 years is not a lot of company.
Dude, it's a lot for video. No video games have that kind of budget.
For an indie studio like this.
Video games
for
have
an
that.
Yes. Listen to me. Listen, for an indie studio
movies?
like this, that is good because they're only working on this one project. But what I'm
You
saying
think
is how
Blizzard is spending $120 million on a single game?
Off of all their games over 4 years? Absolutely. Including paying their employees, Jake? Including all the cost of production and everything? You don't think Blizzard spends $120 million 4 years?
I don't. I really don't. That's a lot of money, dude. Like, games don't cost like Hollywood. Wait, let's look at the Avengers Endgame budget. Infinity War was $300 million. That's a lot of money. But that's Endgame. That's like one of the biggest movies of all time. Is $316 million is the estimate on the first thing I see on Google. Oh, 350 to 400 million. Infinity War was 316. But like that's a shit ton of money. That's for like one of the biggest movies ever made.
Okay, Jake, listen to this. At its best, Blizzard held 12 million paying subscribers for WoW, roughly $180 million per month. Per month, Jake.
That's how much they made. That's how much they made, not how much they spent. I'm talking about spending.
Right, but you're saying Star Citizen has only made $180 million 4 years, and they're paying all this stuff. Yes, for this specific company, that is a lot of money.
I think
But what I'm
that's
trying
just
to
in
say,
subscribers, though. I don't think that's what they've made. That's just in subscribers.
yes, exactly. That's only subscribers. So they're making a lot more from other revenue sources as well.
Correct.
They got a Blizzard store and lot. So 180 millions, when they're making that a month only in subscribers, Jake, is not a lot of money. My point is, Star Citizen has this much money. Maybe that's great for them. How many game companies can pull in that kind of revenue? Probably only that kind of specific, highly focused genre. Or people who are generally into sci-fi or older, middle-aged, like not middle-aged, but people in their 30s like you who have money that they can invest into something like this. But when you're looking at every game across every indie company,
funny guy saying I have money,
you
I
can't get that much
like
money.
But no, you're right. You're right. This is a special case. But anyways, it's going to be fun to follow that. I've played a lot of Star Citizen. I've probably logged close to 100 hours, throughout the various.
But yeah, the original point I was trying to make was I hope that most companies start trying to brew something like a Star Citizen in the background while using other games as like their revenue sources, because we need more slow roll stuff. We can't keep shitting out games.
I'm with you.
Can.
Like I love the Assassin's Creed games through like the Brotherhood series, and then it was just them shitting out a new game every single year.
They started to go to 2 years, and they actually start like Origins and I can't think of the new one. The one Odyssey were actually very good games.
Yes, I loved Odyssey and I loved Origins. They are getting much better.
So when they started to go to like the 2 years,
you slow it down. You don't got shit out games. But like if you're a bigger company, you have multiple games that you can just kind of have these teams slow rolling them. Like how long ago was Final Fantasy VII Remastered? It's like
they have had to come
10
out
years ago
and announce like, hey, we messed up. But at least they know.
No, it's good.
At least they
didn't mess up.
That. They
didn't mess up.
They announced
No. Get me excited for it. Take your time. You mess up by shitting it out. Take your time, people.
The mess up is a good thing. I'd rather them mess up and be willing to fix it. Than mess up and be like, hey,
it is a mess up.
Oops.
Of mess ups. Yes, that's a better way of phrasing it. Yes, Jake, it isn't a mess up. But of the mess ups they can make, take your sweet ass time.
Yes.
Like
if they were to rush it, that would be a bigger mistake.
Take as much time as you need to make a perfect game.
That game's never going to live up to my hype.
There's no way it does. But I'm more excited that people who can't play the first one get to experience that story, because it is one of those games where the story is just absolutely beautiful. And if it takes a modern, less good version of it to make that possible for people to relive, sure, why not?
Do you think they'll change any of that story?
God.
All right.
It better be beat for beat the same.
So just for the sake of just having information here, the crowdfunding for Star Citizen started in 2012. So it was,
it's already been that long?
The end of summer in 2012. So 7 years ago now, they started their crowdfunding. They asked for $2 million. They basically by October they hit 2.5 million. By the end of the year, they're pushing in, just kind of scrolling through. 10 million. When did they hit 10 million? That was in 2013. So this goes on, and they kept adding more and more and more and more stretch goals. The millions keep climbing.
Yeah.
The millions just keep climbing. We'll just scroll to the top to see the total amount, where it's at $223 million in crowdfunding. And you can actually see the crowdfunding timeline here as to, just the surges that come through, how much money they're making at a time. This is a game, you can go by the hour if you want. You can go by the week, go by the month. But like
that's cool, man.
It's
so that crowdfunding is including ships and stuff bought.
It's everything. This is everything.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So if you say I'm gonna buy, I've probably spent $400 on this game, and just on ships and the various things, and it's because there's nerds that love that sci-fi fantasy like myself that
it doesn't
want
surprise
to
me
see
at all.
that want to see this exist. right?
If you go read into some of the old Eve's online stories and learn how much money people had spent on Eve Online, this is the only genre where you could say they've made what you said 140 something million. This is the only genre where I'll go, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Man,
Because of what I've heard from Eve.
Eve was insane.
Eve stories, dude.
Yeah, and if this game ever lives up to its potential, it'll be similar with the amount of money people are spending on.
So I've never played Star Citizen. Do they have
probably,
any sort of advertising or anything in game? I don't know.
One of the things they've gotten a lot of flack for is they get all this money and they make all these gorgeous car commercials for their ships. So they're paying people
Not exactly
to make,
what I meant by advertising.
but literally, it's like they have a commercial that's like Ford.
It's a weird flex
like
by them.
You know how Ford is like, it's like got this manly, like almost Southern, but still kind of neutral voice actor, where he's like tough, driving over rocks. They've got a commercial that's spot on that, but it's for one of their ships, and it's flying around and like defeating bounty hunters.
I'm really happy I asked that question.
It sounds like they're hiring a third-party production company like Arcane 8 or something.
No, they got a full-on video team like in their studio.
That's cool. I mean, I don't like. So the thing is, I was like talking about how much money they had, but like for a company like that. Fuck yeah, dude. Spend the money on that. This is like all these guys are passionate about. They're not like trying to make 30 other games, They're only trying to make one game. Spend as much money as you want, making it as perfect or as fun as you want. So if you want to spend, $30,000 making a video on a Ford vehicle for a ship, sure, why not?
For the sake of accuracy, they're making two games. They're making Squadron 42 and Star Citizen. Squadron 42 is the single player first-person shooter where one of the lead characters is voiced by Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker.
Oh yeah, I remember that trailer from a long-ass fucking time. Oh, that was like 8 years ago. It feels like
7 years ago.
Jesus.
So Squadron 42 is their standalone, FPS, but all of that gameplay and all those mechanics are going to be tied into Star Citizen. And when you launch Star Citizen, you can play versus Squadron 42, which is essentially an FPS, but there's the map that you play on, there's only one map right now at least, has an outer space section where you're using like your suit propulsion system to move around, and audio is totally different. So anyways, they're making two games, but two games that are married, same world.
So it's essentially like Apex versus what was the game that was based off of its gameplay?
Sorry,
like you said Star Citizen and this game are essentially like the same gameplay mechanics but different games. So it'd be like Apex with what's that one game that company made before?
Oh,
Titanfall. Is it similar to that comparison?
In a way, but I don't. In Squadron 42, Squadron 42 is not going to be a massive open universe, right? You're going to be on a rail. You're going to be moving from point A to point B. Whereas in Star Citizen, yes, you'll be having the same engine and the same mechanics, but you'll be able to, wake up in your starport, summon your ship, hop in your ship, fly to a planet, kill a dude, fly to another planet, kill a dude, do whatever, But yeah, man, having an open-ended podcast is really tough because there's so many games to talk about. I don't even know how many games we've talked about tonight, but we do need to talk a little bit about this beer. And we've been drinking for
how long do we have it in the show? I don't know what we're at. We never said anything.
We can go as long as we want. We've been in for an hour and 15 almost.
Okay.
That's it.
But, yeah, but
I've basically finished my bottle.
So I'm working on my second Sam Adams. We chose to talk about the Sam Adams Boston Lager. Jared, let's start with you because you're not a beer drinker, and you said you've almost finished my bottle. What do you think of that one? Tastes good?
Of the beers I've had, it is probably the top 5 least terrible. I would not say it's bad.
Top 5 least terrible. Love it. Let's
get some context of what these beers are.
Sorry. No, it's not bad. If I were at a bar and I was to get a generic beer, this would be a good choice. Yeah. I'd be like, I remember that from our show. This is not bad at all. I don't mind it.
Give it a rating. 1 out of 10.
A 6.
Gives it a 6. All right,
But again,
Ryan.
I'm not basing it off of any
this is-
good, really, really top tier beers. This is just like, you know what? I'm gonna give Sam Adams a base just of a 5, so I can build around this going forward in future episodes.
I respect that.
This is a good base. This feels like a beer that I would not turn down. I wouldn't be like, ugh, we only have Sam Adams. I'd be like, all right, Sam Adams. So yeah, I'll give this a solid 5.
You know, I hate to just straight up agree with you on that, but that's actually perfect. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 5 because that's just a good base. I enjoyed it. I would drink it out and about. It's not gonna be my go-to, but it's something I would definitely drink again.
Oh god, he's got his critic face on. Now he's looking at the ceiling.
Sam
He's
Adams
leaning
is,
back.
this is their classic Boston lager. It's like what they're known for. Mr. Jim Koshin, 84.
Are you reading a script right now?
No. I've got a few facts in front of me, but I'm not reading a script. So I do have a few facts in front of me. You know, in 84. Again, this is his great grandfather's recipe, like I said. I look at this as like maybe one of the older recipes in all of America for beer. And then I've had Pilsners, in the Czech Republic, all the classic Pilsners, Boddington's is the classic English beer, Smithwick's, all these old beers. I would take all of them over a Samuel Adams Boston Lager any day of the week. Any European beer that has been around for a long time, I would rather drink than a Sam Adams Boston Lager. This is a solid 2 or 3 for me. I usually power through a beer, and I've poured my second glass, and it's been over an hour, and I don't want to drink it. I think this beer sucks. I think it's...
You have 5 more coming to you tonight.
I think it's... to be called a lager, it's a little bit dark in the lager scale. I just... There's something about it that just does not say drinkable to me. It is one of the first beers I ever had. I strayed away from beer because of this for a long time. And I have not touched it in over 5 years. And I said, tonight's going to go differently. Didn't even think about it. But I've been drinking it. I'm just like, I don't want to take that next sip. It's like, it's there. I'm going to drink it. But it is not a good beer. I do like Sam Adams Oktoberfest, but I do not like... I'm going to give it a 2. I'm going to give it a 2.
Wow.
Yeah.
I agree with that statement you said pretty well. I don't want to take a sip of then again, but it's there, so I will. So I'm going to lower mine to a 4. You've swayed me to lower it to a 4. Because I agree with that sentiment completely. I don't drink it because I want to take a sip. It's just there, man. It's not bad. It's just there. A 4.
I stay at a 5. I thought it was drinkable. I enjoyed it. I wouldn't, like I said, I'm not going to go out of my way to get it, but I would continue to drink the 6-pack that I had if I wasn't trying to not drink beer for a little bit.
Okay, so eventually we need like one of those. We need to make an overlay where it's gonna have like the history of every beer we've done, and we're gonna like cut to it after this. So it'll show the logo for this, and then what do we do? 5, 4, 2.
You want to mark it in a spreadsheet? I have a spreadsheet open.
No. We put on the overlay, so like we'd have the overlay.
Start with the spreadsheet.
Start with the spreadsheet for now. But 3.6 for is our average score between the 3 of us, and we can just keep track of it over time. Where our beers fall, and then at the end of the year or something, we could do like a final beer review, or we can go over where beers rated over last year, and see which ones were overall the favorite between all 3 of us. But right now, this one's starting at a low 3.67.
Yeah, it's definitely like I would never say that this is a good beer, I guess is the best way to put it. But as many of you may know, I also on the regular drink Bud Light. So,
do you put Bud Light higher than this?
No,
I'm gonna throw a brick
I would
at
not.
Your head. God, I almost threw a brick at your head.
Well, here, because the thing is I actually really do like Bud Light. but I understand that it's not a good
Bud
beer.
Light is the reason I drink whiskey. Because that was all it was always Bud Light and Coors Light at every party I went to, so I always showed up with my own bottle of whiskey. I ain't drinking that piss.
I think
Understood.
Budweiser's like actually has some pretty brilliant. I could be speaking on my ass here, but I'm pretty sure they brew Budweiser in Beechwood, which is a very neutral wood that gives almost no flavor, and I think that's, it's a recipe that's proven and good. It just I haven't had a Budweiser in a long time. I've had Bud Light because people bring it to my house for some reason. I wonder who. But I'm actually curious to do Budweiser for an episode. We're gonna get there. It's gonna happen.
Not anytime soon, please.
It won't be Bud
Light. Jake picked this first beer. So Arano, you can pick the second one, and then I don't ever want to pick one. So Jake,
you gotta pick it tonight though. So that's.
Well, I would love to try Budweiser next week.
No.
Okay, so
Budweiser.
I'll pick this week, I think.
Well, okay, I can figure out something.
You got to pick before the show ends, though.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Start thinking about it.
Do I have 2 minutes or?
Yeah. You
I have
a
half
hour.
All right. So we need our quick 5 minutes or we'll not even do 5 minutes, Jake. You can put a timer on the screen for 2.5 minutes for Ryan and I to talk about the National Basketball Association
Playoffs. Oh man, I'm so excited for round 2. Bye, Jake.
Bye, Jake. Okay, so the playoffs have been this entire year was pretty entertaining. I feel like this was one of my favorite seasons in a long time. This was a really good year. There was a lot going on.
I mean, just past years, it's always been Warriors are going to take it, and this is like the first year where I still think the Warriors are going to take it, despite what you tell me on the regular about Houston. But
yeah, Rockets are going to win. But
I mean, DeMarcus Cousins finally coming back and then going down first game of the playoffs is so tough, but I mean, it makes it even more exciting because they're having.
I'm just very happy to hear he's going to be better by next season. That it's not that bad of an injury. Now,
I didn't hear that.
It's a reoccurring, leg problem. You never know how often this is going to reoccur going forward. Since it's already happened once in his first year of recovery, but he's got a chance. So that's what's good. And if KD leaves the Warriors, there's a good chance. I mean, I honestly see DeMarcus Cousins re-signing with the Warriors for a basic bitch contract again.
Again? I mean, who's
going to offer him anything better?
Oh, people will.
They didn't last season. That's why Warriors got him.
No, he did that because he wants a ring. People would have offered him more than the basic contract that he got.
I thought I remember Boogie getting no offer. He was like,
no one's not going to offer him a contract better than what the Warriors did. But he wanted a ring. He gets his ring. He gets his one ring, and he does it the bitch way, if you will. And then he'll go get paid next year. And
no one's going to remember that in 20 years. All they're going to remember is that ring.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if KD never wins another ring, everyone's still going to say he's one of the greatest players of all time, even though he had to join Steph Curry and these other players to get that ring. But
yeah,
all people see are the rings. Jake walked away when we started talking about sports.
Yeah, he'll be back. When he gets back, he's going to stop.
That's what we'll stop talking about sports.
But thank you for all the Tilted Tavern viewers. He's a Celtics fan. I'm a Rockets fan, and we're going to meet not in the finals because his team's getting knocked out. Mine team won't though.
Sure. I honestly think they have a chance against the Bucks. I think we match up really well against them, and we have people we can throw at Giannis. He's still going to drop 35, but we have people who can make it hard.
As much as I dislike Kyrie, you can put him on any team, and I will say they have a chance versus any team. Yeah. He is just that influential of a player. It's stupid. I hate him so much. I just wanted him to fail so hard, but he's so goddamn good, and he's so beautiful at the game. It's insane. He's so stupid. I hate him.
He's my flat earther, all right?
He's your flat earther, man. He's my flat earther, too. But that has been our NBA talk here on Tilted Tavern. Thank you, everybody. And we're back to video games.
Cool. Good. Great. We survived it. Well done, everyone.
Best part of the show. He plays for the Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah, he owns them.
Could you imagine if he suited up again?
I don't even know where we go from here. What if
they would win?
We were talking about Star Citizen last. Obviously, that's wrapped up.
So I want to talk about what I've been doing lately. I have gotten over the last I want to say a little over a week. Me, Soapy, and one other friend have been playing a lot of GTA RP. We
I
got.
watch a lot of it. I haven't played it.
I used to watch it a lot when it first got big, and then it fell off for a while after all the Take-Two drama. But recently, over the last few months, it's gotten popular again. And then we finally went and we applied for an actual server where you have to get whitelisted on. And we just got really lucky with the server we landed on. They got a really good community. They got a lot of people who understand the rules. They got a lot of people that run good servers. And Soap and I have been having an absolute blast playing this game, man.
So I knew this was a thing. Mainly from Arano talking about it. We have a group chat.
Yeah, me and Izzy love it.
I've never watched it. I didn't know anything about it, but it's private servers.
Yeah,
where you're forced to play as a character.
Yeah, it's role playing.
That is so fantastic.
I play a woman named Wendy. I am sexual and I go around robbing.
That's why Kiki, that character who we always said videos of, is so hilarious, because it's just this ridiculous character that this guy plays, and Tim the Tatman plays with on that server and stuff, and it's just
other people take you seriously. They treat you like it's. You mentioned we talk about this all the time. How a lot of games don't feel fun anymore because they lack community. Everything feels like you want Borderlands 3 to have that hub and clans and stuff for a sense of community. And in the week I've been on this server, it's so bizarre for me to be a random GTA character in game, to run up to a group of people and then have 5 people who are role playing know my character's name and just talk to my character, not be like, oh hey, what was your name? Like you get a real community feel with it, and it's stupid amounts of fun. It is so hilariously fun, robbing banks and doing the dumbest shit imaginable, but playing with semi-realistic rules where you have to follow the rules. Like you're playing GTA, but don't run a red light if there's a cop right there, because the cop playing that guy will pull you over and give you a ticket. And
have you been to jail yet?
Yes.
Can they give you a ticket? Is that a thing they can do?
Now.
Is it a real?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Jake, it is as real life as it gets for being GTA.
Oh my god!
If you get killed, you can't get up until EMS comes and gets you and takes you to the hospital. And the EMS is played by other players. So you have your doctors. Our server has lawyers, so if you ever get arrested, you can tweet out into the server and say, I need a lawyer, and a lawyer will drive to the police station and defend you to the cops. There's people who play taxis.
Jake, you need to go back and watch some of those clips that we sent.
It is an insane amount of fun, and it's one of those things that, again, there's a real community feel with it. And Soap and I, the moment I'm done with the show, I'm getting back on, and we're robbing a bank tonight.
Spoilers! If I'm on your server, I'm gonna arrest you.
Well, you can't get on my server before it because you have to get whitelisted, and it's like a 2 to 3 day application process. Like the server I'm on is like, legit. You have to apply, you have to have submit with a real backstory and all this stuff, and they go through an application problems, and then you get whitelisted, and then once you're in the server, you have to build up a reputation on the server, and then you can apply to be an officer or apply to be EMS, or it's really fun, man. And I have been having a blast. Yes, sir.
I don't own it, but I guess I'm gonna own it because that sounds like.
Dude, it is so absurdly fun, and you just walk up to people and you talk to them in whatever voice you want. I've got 2 characters. I've got one of them. I have Klein that I play with Soap as Stir. We're Stir and Klein running around through GTA, just doing the dumbest stuff, being just goobers. And then I've got Wendy. It's just, I don't know. It's so much fun. I've been very much enjoying it.
What server are you on?
It's called Blue Blood RP.
Blue Blood.
Okay, Blue Blood RP. That's cool. That's cool.
I'll post it in the Twitch chat if anyone wants to check it out or apply.
It's interesting. I mean, it's fun to watch, I will say. I mean, I
was surprised at how immersed I got into it. And again, after playing D&D with you guys and seeing how much you guys like the RP there, if you got it all into the GTA RP, like if you like that game style at all, D&D is different because we're in a fantasy world that we enjoy. If you could get yourself immersed into playing in LA as a random person, it's so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But again, it's more fun because of the community. Because now I look forward to logging on and meeting crew or running into the same police officers who I've been flirting with or something. It's such a fun community feel that games don't have anymore. And yep, that's what I want to talk about was GTA RP. It's really cool. You don't have to play on my server, but
Jared,
you can try it.
do you know what an IBU is?
IBU?
Yeah. Basically the bitterness of a beer. Do you know the average alcohol volume per beer, ABV?
No. Do you know what if your script knows it?
My script knows a fact. So, I mean, just guess. How much alcohol content is in beer versus wine? Do you have any idea?
Doesn't wine have more?
A lot more, usually.
Yeah.
Usually like around 20%. Maybe more than that. I don't drink wine. But
It's
beer,
usually 15 to 20.
a lot of commercial beers are like probably 3%, 5%, in that range. And then if you go into craft beer and IPAs and stuff, you get more to 6 to 8%. 11% is pretty severe. That's like, holy crap, this is a hefty beer. Samuel Adams produces a Utopia series that is 28% ABV. I don't even know what the hell that would taste like. How is that beer at that point?
Gasoline.
How much?
What is this?
Utopia.
How do I get it?
How much do you think a bottle is, Ryan? Before you Google it, how much do you think a bottle is?
Money-wise?
Probably like
750 milliliter bottle.
like
So that's
$60.
60. Jared, you want to guess?
I mean, it's just completely random. I'll go with 61 just so I'm closer if it's higher.
Jared wins. It's $199.
Price is right rules, boys.
$199 for a bottle.
It is.
I've never heard of beer being that expensive.
No, sure.
Clearly you've heard of wines and whiskeys and
whiskey.
shit being that expensive. I've never heard of a beer being $200.
That's a really cool bottle.
It is a cool bottle.
Apparently,
Speaking of beer, you can be an alcoholic in GTA RP, Jake.
Beer is not old.
You
Great.
can vicariously live through your character, man.
It's a newer story.
Speaking of alcohol and spending money on it, I have a friend that works at a liquor store, and he'll sell me stuff for cost. So not the retail price, but cost. And there's a whiskey that I was gifted by my wife's Japanese host parents years ago. That's probably the best whiskey I've ever had. It's called Hakushu 12 Year. If you try to buy it, A, they don't make it anymore. B, it's like $300 at least a bottle, and you just can't find it. But he hooked me up for a third of that price the other day. I don't know if I'm ever going to open the bottle. I don't know. It's like, it's kind of a special thing. And it's cool finding things that are rare and hard to do in the whole beer and whiskey world.
Did you know that beer is illegal in 15 states?
Beer is illegal?
No, the Utopia beer.
Oh, I mean,
is
yeah,
illegal in 15
that doesn't
states.
surprise me at all.
Oh my God.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Only 68 casks were produced.
Yeah, it's a monstrosity of a beer.
Yeah, so we're not getting that beer. It's
Someday
a moral
we'll
story.
taste it. Someday we'll taste it.
No.
I don't think they even have it anymore.
Not
Well,
interested.
they've made over 10 batches every year. They do a different.
Oh, they do. They continue. Okay.
Yeah. So
Well, don't get us one.
Don't get you one.
shifting to the world of esports. I don't know if there's anything you guys want to talk about. The one thing I want to bring up is just the fact that Hungrybox had a crab thrown at him, a raw crab, after winning on stage. A
Such
fan.
an insult.
I've been a Melee person since 2005, right? I've been in the Melee scene, a Smasher, for a long, long, long time. Never once have I heard of somebody throwing a crab at someone.
I mean, in Maryland, I guess maybe it happens often, but
5% of me thinks it's funny, and then like the other
Maryland
95%
crabs. That's what they have.
No, anyways.
That's the only reason he had a crab was he was literally from Maryland, so it was like it was allowed to go in because it's Maryland. That's what people do apparently down there.
I don't like that. As much as it's as funny as it. Hey, I hope the guy that threw that is banned for life.
Oh, absolutely.
Because that's not cool. No matter how much you don't like someone or how long you don't win or something, don't throw something at them. As much as like people like this trash on Hungrybox, and they have their reasons. There's a lot of videos that talk about them. Don't throw something at him. Come on.
Last tournament he lost in Melee was Shine last year. Oh God, Mango. Mango just looks like he'd be a good hang. He just
I haven't hung out with the guy in.
The way he just, dude, that was comedy. HBox, you can't do that. You set yourself up when you do that, dude. Bring it back. Bring it back to when he brings the watch the moment he brings the crab out of into frame. It's like a fucking comedy movie. It's like perfectly centered and everything.
He's not moving points.
Look at this.
Lifts
it.
It.
There's build up. There's build up. Go back. There's like two. He builds up to this moment where you're just like, what is he pointing at? What does he have there? What is it? What could Hungry Box have? What he flinched? What did he flinch at? Now he's looking. Oh my God! And then he looks down at it. He points. He points again. It's a crab. All right, it's more than 5% funny, but
So
that's still not cool.
He
Don't throw shit.
Owned it. He got.
Did
he made a crab emote the next day. He got like how many thousand subs? 2,000 subs or something.
He started at 900 something, and he ended up about 2,500 subs.
Fuck yeah!
And the next day, he posted. I follow him on Instagram. He posted a line of crabs that like he was gonna eat. Like.
So he got 2,000 subs. Jake, the next event you commentate, have Orano throw a squid at your face, and then you stream the next goddamn day. You tell me he got 2,000 subs from this?
And it was all in a sub train too.
Yeah, all within 5 minutes of each sub within 5 minutes. His boss, Liquid112, donated at least 100.
200.
Okay,
It was 200.
Yeah,
Yep.
200.
Yeah, at 1,000 subs, he ended. No, I'm sorry. When he broke his old sub train record, I think it was like 700. He ordered from Red Lobster. He ordered crab and ate it on stream.
He's like, I'm supposed to go to work tomorrow, but I'm gonna call out because I want to keep the sub train going as long as I can. Like, cool dude for sure. You know,
It was a pretty fun stream.
I'm assuming that was a Melee tournament since it was H-Boss versus Mango.
yes,
It was both.
But that was Melee.
that was
That
specifically
was Melee.
It was
Finals.
Melee, yeah.
That was
It
Melee.
was
That was
Melee
Melee finals?
finals.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. I understand the crab being thrown.
So
don't throw a
context,
crab, but
Mango won in winners bracket, and then HBox crushed in grand finals.
classic H-Box.
6-1.
Oof.
And yeah, it was pretty bad.
That's pretty bad, but don't throw a crab.
If you want to watch good Melee though, the Hungry Box Mango and winner bracket was a fantastic
Yeah,
set.
I didn't actually. I only surprisingly caught Ultimate that weekend. I didn't actually get to watch any of the Melee, so I will go watch that set at least.
While we're talking about Smash, anybody play Joker yet? Any thoughts?
I have not gotten the Switch back. Fat recently got back from Vegas, and I haven't gone out to hang out with him yet. And he took the Switch with him.
Joker is stupid.
I've been
Why?
hearing that
'Cause I
there's a lot of
bodied you?
potential there.
Joker has a lot of things that are not.
He's pretty good.
He is a very good character.
He's very
Yeah,
fun.
Leffen was saying how once people figure out all of his combos and all of his little quirks and stuff, that he could easily be top tier.
Yeah,
I think
it's a
I
little
think he
frustrating
is.
when he pops his persona because the hitbox, like it kind of messes with where you want to hit. So like I'll go to back air
He
and I'll
changes-
like release it
he
too early
changes
because
his stance, and you aim at the spirit, which is not targetable.
correct
Yeah,
part of it. Well, I'm not aiming at the spirit. I'm
Well,
just trying to.
that's what you
It's
complain
also
about.
the first time I played
You
him.
say,
So
"Oh, I
we'll
can't
see.
hit that part." Oh, and you said it 100 times that night. So
He's so proud of himself for playing a character before I even saw him and beating him with
it was
me.
my
so.
first time playing the character, man.
That's not true. You told me you played him earlier.
I played 2 games offline.
Okay.
This story is just evolving so much already. It's
I
been
know.
a second end.
No, he's cool. He's interesting. I actually didn't think I'd be interested at all in the character because I've never played a Persona game in my life. He does feel like he could be almost Sheik-like, because I feel like Sheik is a character that's very...
That's exactly what Leffen said.
Oh, really?
That's exactly what Leffen said. He said it feels very similar to Sheik.
In Melee, because Sheik is very easy to play as. She's like very simple spacing. She's got, some kind of ranged abilities, and she's got strong recovery. and he feels pretty similar to that because Sheik is terrible in Ultimate. She is just god awful. She has no kill potential.
Dude,
at all.
I hate it.
So yeah,
Dude, it's so bad. It's so bad. Sheik is awful in that game.
Yeah,
I want to love
her
Ultimate,
combos do
man. I
nothing.
want to, and I feel like it's just like it's there, man. Like I can just taste it. I can almost grab it. Ultimate is so close to me to being the best Smash. Like not obviously ignoring Melee, but just like a good game for me specifically.
to play online.
But I just need
Is
to be
what
able
you're
to play
saying.
online,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have to be perfect. I don't need a perfect net play. I've played online games with not perfect net
Yeah,
plays,
but it's ass.
but this is so bad. It's just so awful. It's one of the worst online experiences you can have.
It's like there's like this
awful.
glorious buffet of like 5-star food in front of you, but you gotta walk
Exactly.
through like the glass and lava to get to it if you want to enjoy that food.
It's like they put all the old, like there's a buffet and they put all the food that was cooked 3 hours ago at the front. So you're grabbing this, but by the time you get to the end, it's like, well, your plate's full and all the good food's here. It's just like you can't eat it now.
That's
That's
better.
like, I've been drinking too much. Sorry, I haven't drank literally over a year. But
Wow.
Whoa!
whenever the last town holiday was the last time I drank.
So that
Well,
was
thank
like,
you for
that was
having that
Not the
was
last one, the one
7
before that, because I didn't drink at the previous one because I was at work where I only made it a cameo. So the one
that's
before
right.
that, the one I blacked out in, that was the last time I've drank.
Jared, that was like 18 months ago.
I don't drink, man.
Yeah. Okay. Props. To cracking open some beers tonight. We got to talk about Classic WoW. This is this can I've been terrified of opening because, shit, we just love that game. There's
I
some new-
think one thing that's good though is we're all kind of on the same page. So I feel like there's not. I mean, we can talk about what we want it to be, but I feel like there won't be too much arguing. And then, as I say that, we'll probably say something, and that will change. But I feel like for the most part, the times we have had this conversation, it's very
It's just a circle jerk, and it's great.
yeah.
I love gathering around my friends and
Wow.
just pulling on stuff.
There's some new info about item and loot rollout.
Yeah, I didn't read it yet.
Yeah, so this is interesting for me because I play on a lot of private. Well, look, first of all, since this is not Roll Need and we can't assume they're going to have the same crossover, let's talk about our vanilla WoW history. We've done this on Roll Need, but we should do it here.
Wait.
I've been playing.
I'm converting to real beer for the,
okay.
for the rest of the show. Harpoon.
That was a good beer.
Juicer. It's a very good beer. Jared, go ahead. Davo, thanks, man. I love you.
I've been playing World of Warcraft since I was like 6 or 7. I watched my dad play the very original Warcraft 1. I played Warcraft 2. I played the expansion. I played Warcraft 3. I played all of the WoWs. I was not in the original beta, but my cousin was. I only got to like 24 or something. I played on his character a lot more during the beta. But then in vanilla route, retail vanilla, I got 2 different 60s, a mage on Alliance Gnome and a druid on Horde, Tauren. And then across private servers over the last 10 years, I've leveled another 4 times on 1x, 1 to 60. So 6 times 1x, and then boosted rates, which is either 2x XP rates or 4x or 8x. I've done another 10 times. So I have been playing original vanilla WoW nonstop for 15 years, I feel.
That's a lot more
Ryan?
than me.
Ryan, go ahead.
I mean, I didn't play. I played Warcraft 2 and Warcraft 3. Never really played 1 until later. I actually played Warcraft 2 on the PlayStation. That was my first experience with that. But I didn't actually go into World of Warcraft right away because I was a big Final Fantasy 11 player. So I didn't want to jump over right just yet. And then I had a bunch of friends who were playing it at launch. And eventually I made the plunge over. And I'm glad I did for obvious reasons. But I played Mage all throughout vanilla, and then that continued all the way, I think, until Lich King, until I actually made a second character. I'd never had an ult.
Just kind of quickly, Phantasy Star on Dreamcast was kind of what brought me to MMOs, then to GameCube, then to Final Fantasy. My group went to 11 like you. I loved StarCraft and Warcraft growing up, but World of Warcraft, somehow I never had even heard of it. I had been a Final Fantasy 11 player. I refrained from playing WoW for about a week. And then I went to my friend's house, and his older brother was playing. He was playing an undead, and he killed something. He skinned it, and then I watched him run over and cannibalize on another thing, and just seeing the crafting and just seeing the gameplay and everything. I was immediately like, "Holy shit! I need this game!" And I'll never forget that 24 hours of seeing the game, having my mind blown. Coming from Final Fantasy 11, this has just seemed like so much more. And then trying to find a copy to buy it. Contextually, from my hometown to Waterbury, Connecticut, it's not really a close drive, especially for like a 17-year-old kid or 16-year-old kid. I found it hidden behind a Hello Kitty game in Toys R Us, like no joke. World of Warcraft. So I feel like an employee stashed it or something. Like it was tucked behind another game, and I found it, and that was like a huge. I'll never forget that moment of being able to buy a game, being excited that I found it to buy it and play it. And yeah, I played a shit ton. I was a hunt hard, pretty much since day one. But I didn't play private servers. I played a dwarf to like level 30 on a private server once on a regular XP game, just because I wanted to feel it again, because it was right after they announced Classic. But I think BC was the expansion that I grinded the most. But I did enjoy Classic. I never played through Next Ramus. I did all the other content. But
I think
not many people played.
Yeah, the number of people that have even that killed one boss in Next Ramus is like 0.01% of the entire vanilla WoW population. So if you were to kill one boss in Naxx, you would be one of the elites of the original.
The only Naxx raid I ever did was got into the raid, and then it was 3 hours of party dropping, and then the 40-man fell apart, and I never did it again because BC came out not too much longer.
Oh, yep. BC made it a lot easier. We had a question, chat. If a portal appear in your doorway...
No, we'll do that after... No, we'll save that to the end of the show. We're not done with Classic, you son of a bitch.
He tried.
I'm going to slap the ever-living shit out of you. We just started on Classic, all right?
I actually have never leveled to 60 on a private server for Classic either. The only private server I've ever leveled to maxes is Lich King.
Yeah, and it can't be blamed to many people. First of all, they're a hassle to get into. A lot of them are run poorly. Most of them are European servers because there are laws against it being hosted in North America, so you have to deal with ping. There's admin abuses across several. Streamers could not
ping, not peeing. Just so you know.
Yeah, everyone heard me say ping. You're the only one that heard me say ping. I mean, I don't know. Orlando didn't make a face. We'll look at chat.
I think I kind of converted it in my head.
I don't know. Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. But yeah, there's a lot of reasons not play on private servers. And then a lot of people like Jake's primary reasons is you could not stream them. There's terms of service reasons that prevent you from creating content on them. You can do on YouTube now because YouTube don't care. But Twitch, which is a lot of streamers go to, you can't. So it makes sense why most people haven't played on private servers. But the reason I wanted to give it their history is because of the new announcement that came out today with the itemization. They're going, ideally, the perfect route for it. It makes the most sense to do it this way. They're doing itemization in the sense that if an item was released, let's say in patch 1.6, whenever we get to phase 1.6 of the phase release schedule, that's when that item will enter the game. However, there are situations where for the first several patches, the Helm of Wrath specifically, which is the warrior's main helmet for tier 2, it had spirit on it and a lot of other useless stats.
Yeah,
until like 1.6. Yeah. So what they essentially announced was they would not be degressing stats like that. Whatever the stats on an item was in 1.12 will be whatever the stats are in game. Just depends on when the item was released. So originally in 1.0, you could get the Helm of Wrath from Onyxia, but it was worse originally back then. Now it's going to be the better version of it when you get it. So that makes the content easier. And private servers haven't been doing that. So the point I was trying to make was for people like me who have been playing on private servers, this potentially changes a lot of our best in slot raid, our best in slot lists, because the items are changing quite drastically. So it's
Interesting.
We're already starting to see a lot of these things pop up, like we talked about the role need, like the Black Lotus spawn timers, the stacking of the head buffs, things like that. That people slowly just got used to because they were good quality of life changes, especially for servers that had like 10,000 plus players on them, which in original Classic was 3.5 as the cap. So you had to buff those respawn timers when you have more than 2 times the population. But it's just interesting that we'll have to make all these little adjustments that we weren't expecting.
And you like that change overall?
Yeah.
I think it's
because it is that's not classic.
No,
there's
this is
purists
a new
out there
game.
who might hate that. Yeah, I mean, I
there
agree.
will be people that throw a fit about that, but the thing about Classic is the game itself is flawed. It has so many issues. There's so many bugs or broken things mechanically. Some specs are just useless. Some things are just. I mean, when you look at WoW, when you were say if you want to tank, if you want to try hard tank, guess what? There's one option.
Warrior.
One option. No other option can pull off main tanking besides Warrior. And if you were to talk about a new MMO that released today, and you were to be like, okay, so I want to tank, so I can play X class, X class, X class, X class. No. Only in this game you can only play one class for really tanking, and that's Warrior.
Is that because of threat or like I don't
mitigation, threat.
They had the highest HP pool. It was Thunder.
The main issue is the threat though, because of Warriors that have the highest threat. The difference between Paladins is they run out of mana so fast. So it's the resource generation there.
Well,
that's why Rogues and Warriors
anyways,
are also the highest DPS classes, is because they don't run out of mana. Rogues and Warriors, they have permanent energy. They have permanent rage. They never run out. Like no matter how long the fight is, they're constantly getting that resources. Where a mage or priest and stuff, they will go home. So
because there's a lot of evocation wasn't. I don't think that was until BC
again,
anyway.
When I remember WoW, to me, honestly, most of my memory is BC. And sure, I played a lot of Classic, but like, were bear druids even like a viable off tank? I don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so everything can do everything outside of Nax.
Okay.
Nax is so brutal that you need 8 warriors with I think 4-piece tier 3 to be able to kill 4 horsemen.
Jesus Christ.
And then everyone needs like 200 plus frost resistance at least, and not just 200 plus frost resistance. You also need 200 plus frost resistance while also maintaining
Potions
other
and
good stats,
Yeah.
intellect and spell damage. So you can't just have like a 30 plus frost resistance.
You're popping pots for days.
So it's just like Naxxus is a completely different beast. But the Classic is a very flawed game, but it's I don't know. There's just so many aspects of it that are so rewarding.
What are you
and
most
I don't
excited?
think that the itemization takes away.
Jared, if I have to ask you what the one thing that you're most excited for about World of Warcraft Classic, what is it?
It's essentially a reference to the GTA thing I referenced earlier. When I walk up to a group of people, they go, "Oh, hey, it's Wendy."
The community. The
Community,
single server.
absolutely. If I walk it, so if I'm going to be an Iron Human warrior on my cat mount, because I'll be exalted with Darnassus, and I'll be standing in the same spot every single time. And guess what? If you're on that server, there is no way you can avoid me. I will be there. Whenever I'm there and you can't avoid me, I will be there. Like, you'll see me. There's no way we can't interact together. And eventually, if you're dedicated to that server for long enough, so it's easy on a GTA server when there's capped 32 people on at a time. So, you can get well known, in a week. But on a Classic WoW server, 6 months in, will you be well known? I don't know. Only best players are going to.
I was going to ask Arano to answer next. But I had a different answer until you said that. Because I think back to Classic WoW. I think back to even Final Fantasy 11. In Final Fantasy 11, you had basically the Bazaar, which is you could turn your character into like a little mini auction house. You could list items for sale, AFK in town, and people could inspect you and buy from you. You would list items at a fee.
That's cool.
And that was like a really big part of the game. And I remember I got involved with that. That game was international. So what Japanese players and English-speaking players rarely played together. But I got a Japanese permanent party at one point, and there was like a system that translate for you. Yeah, it would translate for you. Which was a big deal because they more or less considered Western players to be. They considered Western players to be shit. But I played Dragoon,
which is fair.
And Dragoon was I don't know if I'd say it was a hard class to play, but they weren't the most prominent at the time until you got Pentathrust, and then they were a little bit better at a higher level. But mid level they were pretty weak. But I remember getting in on there. But I just remember this guy named Bongo, right? He was a Galka, which is like the huge race, so like big people, and he would just always be in the same exact spot every day, AFK, and I'd buy herbs from him, and I'd make my potions, and do that thing, and having that and I remember my rivalries in Classic WoW, even doing Battlegrounds, because it's one server, right? I remember hitting those same people.
You would get those same icons targeting you. That goddamn mage with that goddamn helm from SM, idiot. You talked about it when we were talking about Borderlands 3. You said you wanted that little area so you could go, you could interact with people, and you could show off your EP. That's what's great about Classic WoW, man. Is like even if you're not known throughout the entire server, you will be known throughout your own communities. You will, and it's just. I don't know. That's what games lack now.
I remember the Scarab Lord, the Mount, and he would sit in Ironforge.
Yeah.
That's a whole episode.
One
That's a whole
per
episode
server.
of the show, man. Talking about Encourage, like.
Yeah. There was always those guys that you would just, when I played Vanilla WoW, I was just a 15-year-old kid who was just obnoxious and loud and annoying, and I didn't know what I was doing. I just ran around and did stuff, and I would look at these guys and like, wow, this guy's got full tier 2 armor, but my 15-year-old ADD can't control himself to even finish one BRD run. But now I can go back and be that guy who's got the full tier 2 standing in Ironforge in this spot, and the same people are going to see me there, and I'm going to see my same friends there, and there's no avoiding. That's the problem with a lot of games right now. It's accessible to everyone, and there's too many people in the world. You're just going to never interact with the same people. If you could play Fortnite or Apex right now, what is the chances you're going to hit the same player again?
No, you're not going to.
Never.
Like,
ever. But in Classic WoW, you absolutely will run into the same people if you're dedicated to that server. Absolutely.
It's fun to think about like just the technology restrictions that existed, because computers back then weren't what they are today. They weren't affordable. I think I bought like a baseline Hewlett Packard that would play World of Warcraft. I think it probably cost me $400 or $500, which 12 years ago or 15 years ago was a lot more than it is today. And I didn't have, that's no mouse, keyboard, or monitor. So I got like a cheap mouse keyboard, and I used an S-video cable on like an old CRT television to play the game. Let me tell you, reading text on that television was nigh impossible. So my whole World of Warcraft gaming experience for like the first year, I think for Christmas I got a monitor or something, was, oh my God. So it's cool to think about that as being a restriction back in the day, but clearly...
like literally all we have talked about right now is AFKing in a spot. You laugh, but that's all it's how much do we care about that right there? Standing AFK in a spot, and how good does it feel to see the same people, and how good does it feel to be recognized? And to be that guy that a level 34 warrior runs through
Games don't
and
capture
asks
that anymore,
questions about prot. How many times were you ever just standing around and you would see someone better than you at your class, and you would whisper them, "Hey, what about this? Or what about this?"
Right.
Or
Start
you
the
being the guy that was
conversation.
asked.
You look at their talent tree, you're like,
Now they'll
why
block
did you pick this? Right?
Yeah.
And have that conversation. You're right. It's
Or I'm leveling up. I'm not really enjoying. Do you have any recommendations for how I should play a 2-hand builder? Like you don't get that options in games
Hoarder
anymore to just
ganking me.
interact
Can
with
anyone
people.
help me?
Exactly. You will have the same people who are always like, there'll always be that 160 who's just messing around in STV, always willing to help the low beam. Like it's just
Stranglethorn.
ignoring.
I'm so excited for it.
the
Gameplay at the same time.
I'm not going to Stranglethorn. I am straight
Oh,
up.
I am.
I'm not even going. I'm not
That's
even
like
going.
I'll be there.
that's like nostalgia right there. Is I might not stay there to level, but I have to go at
Don't
first.
isn't it like 10 levels in STV? It's like
Only
30 or
10
40?
levels? You mean a sixth of your leveling?
Yeah. No,
It's
it's
a long
I
ass
think
time, dude.
it's like 30 to 40.
No,
or
yeah,
something
but
like that.
you leave and but yeah.
Okay, well.
I don't know how often I'll be hitting there my first, because we're doing Nasus rep grind. But I'm not too worried about STV. The thing it's like a little bit of cockiness, but I'm legitimately, and you guys too, playing vanilla WoW. You guys are the 0.01% of people that will be playing Classic. You will be the people who have experienced that leveling. Even if it was just once a long time ago, you have advantage over 99.9% of the other players. So as long as you can get ahead of that original group.
I mean, that's my plan, right?
True.
I'm playing the best leveling class in the game, right? I'm just going to power through.
But if you fall, and Ronald's playing the second best one, or third, wait, no, what are you? You're not a druid, right? You're a mage.
He's going
Not mage.
Oh, you're going
Mage is
mage.
fourth.
No, I'm going Frost Mage.
You go
Just
Frost.
fourth
That's
best.
like top 4, yeah.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Oh no, they're great.
Uh,
Druid, Hunter, and Warlock are all the
yeah,
mage.
OP, dude. Sustain is good.
But yeah, I mean, it's just such a like ignoring
you're
all
playing
gameplay
Warrior,
aspects.
right?
Yes, sir.
I mean,
am
we can
going
group
Warrior.
up at some point, but you'll probably be playing more than me just because you're taking a week off to work, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks. I've got a week of PTO and a week of vacation time saved up.
Smart man. I do not have that.
It really depends on when it comes out for me. You know?
It's different for me, man. I've been only playing this game consistently for 15 years. I don't know why I keep being drawn.
There's
I
something
feel like my
special about it,
entire last 3 years have been pointing to playing Classic. I just haven't enjoyed much since it's been announced, or even before it was announced. Once it got really hyped again, I've just been nonstop wanting to play it. I mean, you saw us at that first BlizzCon. Zuna and Arth couldn't put it down.
It's true.
Yeah.
The
Game's got lots of flaws, man. It's got a lot of great aspects to it. One of the aspects I like about it is that it's not balanced. We talked about how a lot of people would be upset if you were to play a game right now and Warriors were the only viable tank. But what's wrong with that? Every class has their role, and not every class needs to do everything. That's the problem with balance right now in most games, is everyone tries to make everything balanced. Balance isn't fun. There's nothing fun about something being balanced. Everything needs to be overpowered in its own way. And that's kind of how Classic WoW is with the classes. Every class is best at something.
Well, and that goes to the idea of I don't think it's that balance is a problem. I think it's that when they try to balance it, what they do is they bring everything down rather than bringing the stuff that's down up. So that's my personal problem with a lot.
It's a combination of the two. I see that. I definitely agree. There's a lot of companies nerf. I mean, I've been bitching on Town Hall and StarCraft 2. They did too much nerfing and not enough buffing. But what more I mean is that, so in retail WoW, they try and make every single tank just as good at everything, right? But what's wrong with, like, in BC? Guess what?
Yeah, it's hard to balance.
More tanks could tank in BC, but Paladins were by far the best AoE tank. Druids were really good single target tanks, and Warriors were good versatile tanks. Yeah. You have very specific.
I think the
thing
problem is
best
adding classes
just
made it harder and harder and harder for them. They added Demon Hunter and they added monks, and they had too many kinds of tanks, and they tried to really make everyone equal, and they tried to make specs for each one that work out.
That's what I'm saying. Don't make them equal.
No, I agree. I'm with you, but I just think WoW has they've added all this content, and they've deleted content and cycled backwards, and they've added content. They've tried to keep it fresh for everyone because they don't. It really is a daunting task. No MMO has gone on that long and had that kind of player base, right? Whereas you look at classic WoW and you look at BC and you look at Wrath. As it's the foundation is basically D&D. You've got like these classes and these ideas and these identities that exist, and it feels good. There's different kinds of utility that feel meaningful. All the professions feel more meaningful in those in mainly classic and BC than they ever will again.
Absolutely.
Right.
Everything feels more meaningful. It's crazy.
Like crafting is a huge part of who you are. And you have that guildmate that didn't do crafting. You're like, dude, what are you doing? They're like, I can't afford my mount. I'm like, well, yeah, because you don't have crafting. How do you make money? That's a huge part of the game. So it's, I think that's part of the magic, though, right? You're gonna feel like your guild has a community to it. Helping each other craft those potions, and
that's another thing, a community feel,
and all of that, right?
That guy being that blacksmith that sells that one weapon. This guy has the only Arcanite Reaper pattern on the server still, or something like that.
Right. That's cool, right?
That stuff matters. Matters so much.
It's like, hey guys, I'm looking to have this crafted. Oh, whisper Gurgthok, and Gurgthok is going to be able to craft that for you.
I remember in TBC in Black Temple when jewel crafting first got the epic gems. Our guild was the only guild that got the I think it was like the plus spell powered gem, the epic version. We got it like first, and no other guild had it for a while. And because of that, we made an alliance with another guild who had a bunch of patterns we didn't have. So we were just working together, these two guilds, to trade each other gems that we couldn't craft and stuff. And even just stuff like that. It's just the subtle things, man, that make the early versions of this game so much more fun. Just being able to interact with people and it be meaningful. You know, you queue up for even doing mythic dungeons, dude. You go into some LFG button, you apply for a group, and you never see those people again. You don't give a shit about them. You don't care about how hard this Mythic Plus dungeon is going to be, if it's a 20 plus or whatever. It has no meaning to you at all.
Yeah, queue and get out.
Why do games suck now? God damn it!
Does anybody in chat know who Gurthok is?
No, you just made up words.
No, that's a thick. That's a sick reference I made. Gurthok is the GM of Elitist Jerks, which is one of the OG guilds in Classic WoW, and he even.
I was more of a death and taxes guy.
Okay, well, he even has a goblin named after him in the Ring of Blood.
That's cool.
In BC, the goblin that runs the Ring of Blood in Nagrand is Gurthok, and that's named after the GM of that guild. So, fun fact, but. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Classic.
But anyway, to get back to the original point, was Classic, the itemization changes are
good.
It just makes sense. Everything they've done for the Classic WoW announcements, I'm sure we'll get more into them over weeks and stuff. We can't. Again, I could talk about for 5 hours about every single thing I'm excited for.
Hopefully,
literally,
the beta
Phase 2 is going to be the best gaming experience of my life. When Phase 2 happens, the 3 to 4 months after that is going to be the most fun I will have in gaming, and I am 100% confident that it is going to be so much fun.
So I'm just gonna inject this in there real quick. It was just asked in chat by Hyper Mike, "What is the show about?" It's open ended gaming, nerd culture. And every week we're going to talk about beer.
Talked about basketball too.
I AFK'd for that part, but
you get 2 minutes every episode for
it's
NBA.
Just me and you, Jared. No one else cares.
2 minutes of esports. We're going to have on guests, and so on.
How old are the three of you? I'm 20. 28. 28.
33.
Is that your final answer?
What year is it?
I was 18 when
Are you
Classic
Robin
came
Williams? Like,
it's 2019, right? So yeah, I turned 29 in a couple months.
Yeah, I'm just about 31 myself.
Yeah, I was a baby when Vanilla out. I was that annoying 14-year-old kid in every guild had one. I was that one.
I think I was in sophomore in high school when Classic came out.
I was a freshman in college.
Yeah, I was. I'm pretty sure it was my freshman year. Pretty sure it was my freshman year of high school that it came out, because I was not in shape, but I was not fat before WoW.
We all did Classic WoW.
Yeah,
and yeah,
and
too young. I was 18.
Because when I say when I mostly played BC.
Oh no, we did it. We all did.
Yeah, we all played vanilla.
But when I played vanilla. I played.
No, the guy was asking.
Okay, yeah. We all played vanilla. We all played proper vanilla, right? Like I think day 8 was when I started of vanilla. I didn't start day 1, but I remember the reason I played so much BC was because that was my senior. I graduated. I had a summer. I had no job. I had no school. I had nothing. The bed that I slept in, back at home at my parents' house, they had to throw it away because I didn't have a chair. My computer desk and my computer was next to my bed. So I'd literally sit up and sit on the side of my bed and play. So I'd wake up, roll over, sit down and play WoW, go downstairs, eat, do what I got to, whatever I got to do, sit in that same spot. And if that bed had to be thrown away because there's a huge dip where I just sat probably 14 to 18 hours a day during BC because I did not log out of that game. I played it. I didn't have friends. I abandoned all my friends were a year older than me. They went off to college. I didn't go to college right away. I went to college a few years later because of WoW. WoW
That's funny.
Stole like 2, maybe let's say 2 years of my life. Where that's all I did, and that was BC. So when
the two longest friends I've had in my life, Soapy and Fat, are people that I met Fat in high school, but we became friends because of Burning Crusade. I transferred to his server and I played with Soapy and Fat. We made a guild. They raided with me, and those are the only two friends I've had that long.
Yeah, Yeah, it's amazing. Some of my
Because
some
of
of my
that
oldest
game.
friends are Warcraft friends that I still talk to.
Yeah. I mean, we don't need to talk about how much we love classic. We do a classic WoW Dungeons and Dragons. We're balls deep. We're as in as we can get, man. No, it's God, I can't.
Can we like transfer off now or
No.
segue off?
I don't want to because there's so much I want to talk about more. I want to talk about phase 2.
Dude, I told myself this would be a podcast where we keep it to an hour a week. We're over 2 hours. We're 2 hours and 10 minutes now.
You said you thought we were going to do an hour a week. Are you dumb? Our pre-shows are an hour a week.
Here was the question, by the way.
Let's answer that question because
I just posted it in Discord.
Okay, I thought it was interesting. If a portal appears in your doorway and it goes to a different anime or video game world that you can make your own character, will you leave behind your life or leave your life behind or stay in the normal world? You can take 10 people with you. By the way, if you die, you just respawn. So it's like re-zero, but
I can take 10 people with me. I'm going to classic WoW. Like, done. Well, that's actually harder than I thought.
Okay, so I actually think I have my answer, and this is just off of impulse. It's like not thinking about it too long. My first gut feeling when I read this question was I would go to the My Hero Academia.
Yes! That's what I was going to say after I thought about it.
I would go to the My Hero Academia universe. I don't know what I would choose my superpower to be, but that world is so
do you get to choose it, though? Like, that's the big question.
It says you get to make a character, so...
Yeah, you make your own character.
But what if you're quirkless? Like, what if you go in and you have no quirk?
I'm not making my own character.
you spawn in and you're just
okay, Jake, so what about your classic WoW? You're going to spawn in as Jake Kalinsky with freaking production degree. Cool.
He's gonna be in
what's that gonna value for you there in Goldshire, Jake? Think, dude. Of course you get the skills of whatever you would have in that universe. Come on, man. Why would I go anywhere? Okay, then I would choose GTA and I would go live in an apartment and play video games. I get to do what I keep doing. No, yeah. Hero Academia sounds fun.
That's a great question.
It's funny how you said your gut instinct. So I thought about it a little bit because when it happened, but my gut instinct, and I'm just going to stick to it right now, is Final Fantasy IX. I love the world of
you want to be Zidane. You want your city to be
airships
by
and be
summons.
Pirates and but
the
you
reason
have
I
future,
chose
but medieval at the same time. I love it.
The reason I chose Hero Academia.
We can't see Jake's. We can't see Jake's face.
What are you doing, you dildo?
Oh, sorry. I pulled up a thing. I have friends coming over soon, so I just want to make sure they're not here.
The reason I chose Hero Academia is close enough blend to our world that I could still play video games, but it's also got enough fantasy into it that I could do whatever the hell I want without because if you ever pick something like Skyrim, okay, I'm running around a world where I'm getting stabbed by bandits, there's giants around every corner, there's dragons that can come burn my city down. Skyrim does not sound like a fun place that I would get to go create my own character in because I'm going to die more than likely.
Agreed.
Hero Academia, I could get a powerful quirk, maybe be motivated to train it and stuff. So yes, there's a chance I die, but that's a much more enjoyable world and more likely chance that I don't get murdered.
But let me just throw this real question in there because you're saying Hero Academia because it's relatable to modern day what we're used to living in because that's easy. It's an easy transition plus superpowers. It's literally just our world with superpowers. But Azeroth is a world with different races. You've got goblins, you've got orcs, you've got elves, you've got all this shit, that whole fucking Tolkien fantasy. You wouldn't rather move out of modern world into Tolkien's fantasy kind of thing or World of Warcraft or whatever. You'd rather stay here with superpowers.
I like the convenience of modern day plumbing.
And that's episode number 1 of the Tilted Tavern, guys. We are going to get everything rolling here onto social media with, Spotify, iTunes, all of that in the very, very, very near future. For now, everything does exist on Solid Jake GG for Twitch, YouTube, and we do have tilted_tavern for our Twitter. Thank you all so much for tuning in to our first episode of the podcast. We'll be back every week to talk about video games, World of Warcraft, and beer, and of course, esports. GG's. Peace.
Do we get shout-outs?
Yeah, shout-outs. Go ahead. Take it away.
Yeah, watch Roll Need, please. Thanks. That's it.
That's our other show. Ron,
I just really
got any shout-outs?
We didn't talk about D&D at all. And I really want
We didn't talk about D&D at all. I'm actually surprised.
episode.
I know. I'm just saying.
I usually can't go through life without talking about D&D.
I love Dungeons and Dragons. I love our show. You guys should check it out if you like Vanilla WoW. If you like D&D, check it out. That's all.
All right, there's a great question to end the show is, what's the goal of this podcast? To talk with friends about video games and esports and have a beer.
Chill.
Peace.
Bye.